Another poll vindicating your immigration take. Yeah. Oh my God. I can't believe public sentiment is shifting on immigration. Oh my God. Who could have foreseen this? Oh my God. Only someone who has the gift of prophecy, Apollo's gift of prophecy, would be able to foresee such an obvious thing that would inevitably happen. That's right. Don't forget, I don't have the gift of, it's not hindsight. First of all, this is not hindsight. This isn't even foresight. It's just sight. Okay. It's just sight, ladies and gentlemen. There it is. New YouGov economist poll out this morning finds Trump is no longer popular on immigration. Oh my God. Who could have foreseen this? Who could have seen this coming? Who could have seen this coming? Me. I did. I kept saying that this is going to happen eventually. If there's pushback, and there's a little bit of pushback, there needs to be a lot more pushback right now. Yeah. Turns out Americans don't like brutal immigration policies, and they're only reminded when Dems actually make a bigger deal out of it, start pushing back on it, on the issue, and the media starts covering it. A really important lesson for all Dems to remember. Be a leader. Okay, political movie recommendation or documentaries, please. Love the Friends, by the way. I don't have any recommendations right now. Anyway, all right. You see Jen from I've Had It, Rip Emanuel. Yeah, Rahm Emanuel got cooked. I'm not drinking pure coffee concentrate. It's pure coffee concentrate that I put water into and I dilute with water. It's not. I'm not ripping pure XX coffee concentrate. Are you playing Oblivion today? No, I'm not. I'm not playing Oblivion. Stop asking me to play Oblivion. I'm not. This dude is defending Elon Musk from you. Dude, this is so funny. XQC, I posted, don't let anyone tell you your voices don't matter. Musk wants to leave politics because he's tired of the attacks from the left. And XQC voices. First of all, this isn't the reason why he's trying to quit politics. Are you fucking... I was about to say, are you fucking stupid? But the answer is, he's not. It's XQC. Voices. This is so funny. This is just right-wing garbanzo. Okay? Straight up. Yeah, this is why Elon is quitting, dude. Not because he's such a fucking loser that... First of all, this unironically pairs up with his actions in office at Doge. What he has done at Doge in one of the most prominent stages has caused unimaginable resentment to such a degree that even in Europe, universally, Teslas are despised. Okay? It is reflecting in their stock prices. Well, not their stock prices necessarily, because the stock performance is not associated with like any sort of serious market fundamentals. Let's be real. It's obviously Tesla. It's a super inflated tech stock to begin with. But it's reflected in the 71% of net profit that they lost, even though the revenues that are even coming in right now, because they would have been unprofitable, the revenues that are coming in right now are predominantly coming in from carbon credit swaps from other companies still. Like $500 million of revenue for Tesla still came from the fact that they are an EV manufacturer, and other car manufacturers in the United States of America still don't make EVs or make enough EVs, and therefore they're still buying they're still paying Tesla. That is not true, Lamau. It is true. What are you talking about? That is not true. What? Am I getting something wrong? There have been numerous instances throughout Tesla's history that if they did not have the EV tax credits, they would have went bankrupt. It still happens. It's not the bulk of their revenue. No, of course it's not the bulk of their revenue. The reason why it's not the bulk of their revenue is because other car manufacturers are also making EVs. It's a double bind because on the one hand, if other car manufacturers are making EVs with better build quality, now you have a more competitive product to Tesla. So that's actually lowering the sales of Tesla because, you know, you got people like myself who don't want to buy a Tesla, but will very easily go or who are interested in getting an EV. Okay. And number two, when they make their own fleets of electric vehicles and they no longer have to buy into the carbon credit swap. Yeah, no, that's what I was saying. I'm saying that the carbon credit swap scheme has literally saved Tesla from becoming insolvent and becoming bankrupt in the past. nowadays is still a decent chunk of revenue that they get, but it's nowhere near as significant as it once was for the two factors that I mentioned. Number one, other companies are also making their own electric vehicles, so therefore they have no need to purchase as much carbon credits from Tesla. And also, I mean, yeah, that's it. That's the major reason. But in terms of why they're still profitable, the EV credit swaps are part of the reason why they're still profitable. Don't react to it. He has been irrelevant lately and is doing the fuck Hassan again. Yeah, no, he's just. I thought XQ wasn't right wing. I'm confused. I thought he chose not to be right wing. Did he choose to be right wing again? Like, what's going on? I thought he hated Tesla and Elon Musk. And what happened? What happened? I thought personally. I thought personally that he was he said that he wasn't on board with the Trump stuff and thought that they were stupid or whatever. But now it's like, just, I don't know, maybe he's just still defending it on principle. Yeah, the EV maker generated $692 million from selling regulatory credits in the last quarter of 2024 alone, and accounted for nearly 30% of its quarterly net income of $2.33 billion. Yes, they still generate a shit ton of revenue from the credit swaps. So, yeah, Tesla reported $1.1 billion in net income for Q1 of 2024. $444 million of that net income came from federal carbon credits. Yeah, I mean, there's also the federal carbon credits. There's different kinds of subsidies that they get at the point of purchase, but also from other manufacturers as well. We're talking about two different things. Anyway, why am I having this conversation? The point is, Elon Musk, under his watchful gaze, under his wonderful leadership, especially after he did this Doge stuff and became persona non grata, public enemy number one, because he is an unlikable monster, right? You when it comes to Hassan. That's funny. An unlikable monster. Oh, wait, no, this person is responding to this guy. Said, you still have time to delete this, bro. He's saying is a dick riding. Elon Musk is an unlikable monster, and therefore people don't want to associate with Tesla anymore. I get it. I have a friend. I was talking to one of my friends. He's Jewish, okay? He bought a Tesla a week before Elon Musk Sig Heiled. A week before. And he was like, dude, I'm fucking driving around in this thing now. I'm going to meetings, and people are looking at me funny. You know? What am I supposed to do now? I just got this shit. I'm not talking about Will, dude. Will got the plaid a long time ago. Anyway, everything's computer, but 71% revenue drop, or net revenue drop. 71% for the same quarter. Q1 2024 versus Q1 2025. 71% net revenue drop. People don't want to buy this shit. It's not about this, okay? It's not about this. This is reflective of the resentment. This is reflective of the resentment that people feel towards Tesla, certainly the anger that people feel towards Tesla due to what Elon Musk is doing by, engaging in mass layoffs, the federal government also being super incompetent in broad daylight in terms of how they're doing these supposed cuts, these budget cuts and whatnot. But there's a reason why people are bullying Tesla owners and shit, okay? And it's not like I've been egging this on. I'm not like, oh yeah, this is base, this is good or anything. I haven't really said anything. It's just, I don't even fully understand why there's so much smoke, so much animosity towards people who are individually own Teslas. Maybe it's because like I live in Los Angeles where it's not unique, and I see so many Teslas with a sticker that says like I hate Donald Trump on them, which feels like a insurance against like people putting a dog shit on your car. In any case, this is not the reason why. Don't let anyone tell you your voices don't matter. Yeah, they firebombed one Tesla facility, so I guess that's the reason why Elon Musk is quitting. Like, get the fuck out of here, dude. How was their profit change? Yes, net revenue, profit. Like, not gross. I'm saying straight up, their profit went down 71% quarter one 2024 versus quarter one 2025. That's huge. That's a huge decline. And a big part of that is because they are not selling as many cars. They're not selling any of their models. They underperformed according to analysts' expectations. Anyway, Technically, net revenue is not the same as profit. Yes, I apologize. Fucking goddamn finance nerds. So sad to see it. Any other corp would fire the CEO? No. I mean, they ate so good for so many years having Elon Musk be the key man. I don't even know if they can. Literally don't understand the stats. Yes, it's 71% down, but it's only about minus 10% if you count in Elon's big plans for robo-taxis and the very big plans in the future to sell more cars. Big plans. It's an investment. Yeah, exactly. Board of directors is all Elon family or lackeys. It's not independent. Yeah, he has complete control over it. Plus, also, he's the key man, for better or for worse. And for many, many years, him being the key man was beneficial for Tesla because he inspired a lot of confidence in Tesla. So people wanted to buy in. Every time he lied, people were like, I don't want to believe that he's lying. I want to believe that he's actually being honest. And I want to believe that he actually has a method to all of this madness. But now that his popularity is waning and now he's becoming a incredibly unpopular figure, all of a sudden his association with the company is a negative one. And that's precisely what's going on here. It's becoming more and more negative day in and day out. I think Elon's politicization will be looked back as one of the great cell phones of all time, completely unforced error, unless he is the Henry Ford to Trump's Adolf Hitler, in which case it will we'll be living in a dramatically different universe at that point. But I don't think so. I don't think so, only because they're so incredibly incompetent. Like, they cannot do fascism properly, which is good. It's not a bad thing. I mean, here, look, this is another great example of how incompetent their fascism looks like. Here, let's take a look.
Drinking at the Pentagon. He's getting hammered in the Pentagon. Yeah, there's never a lack of bottles of Jack, but it's a little tight when he's calling airstrikes. Wasted in the Pentagon. Wasted in the Pentagon. Some bottles came and went, they're gone. It did not go right for Coors Light when there's been no more time for the old Corona line. So stick with us and you're set. Our war plan shared in the Signal chat. It'll be like any administration, except way more public intoxication. Draining Henny at the Pentagon. Sipping bourbon.
Dude, he loves drinking, dude. He really loves the drink, bro. It is crazy. Respect. Like, actually, look, as someone who struggled with alcoholism in the past, like, listen, fellow boozer, he's Mr. Booze Cruise, man.
And we are so far gone. And our faces flush through every rush. The tweets get so discordant, but your vision is so distorted. Drinking at the Pentagon.
He almost killed. Remember when he almost killed someone with the axe, where he tossed the axe over the wall and it struck a band member? Luckily, it was the blunt side.
They're all trashed at the Pentagon. All the Houthi PC groups get confused because Pete blew through the booze like he's back at Fox News. Cause like you just blacked out on the job and texted secret war plans to everyone.
Bitch, you hit the Pentagon!
He no longer suffer the hangover. Yeah, of course. You can't have a hangover if you keep drinking. Never forget. There's no other company doing what they are. LaMafia. Every other company is either completely bankrupt, Waymo, or not trying to find a general solution. You can't really compare them to anyone else. What is this? You're acting like Google hasn't had cars autonomously driving around the country for years. Tesla leads the way in no way all than defrauding governments. There's no other company doing what Elon Musk is doing. Waymo is unironically a successful implemented robo-taxi system that you can utilize right now. And it has a better self-driving, a more successful self-driving initiative than FSD ever could have. What are you talking about? It uses a different technology from what I understand as well. Waymo's literally bankrupt. Okay, they have an actually functional robo-taxi system. They're not saying we might have a functional robo-taxi system in our fleets maybe a couple years down the line. They have it. And I don't even want to defend Waymo because I don't like it. I'm scared. I'm scared when I see one of those cars, when I see one of those Jaguars and there's no driver in the driver's seat. I get scared. Okay? I think this is the spawn of Satan. But having said that, if we're going to be real about it, they already have an actual fucking functioning robo-taxi fleet that works, that operates right now in my neighborhood and in many other neighborhoods. It's not like a Ooh, FSD will be readily available. FSD will have a fleet of robo taxis. Like, I promise, it's gonna fucking work. None of that in the future. It's here right now. What do you mean no other company's doing it like they're doing it? I guess you're right in the sense that, yeah, Waymo's not lying and saying that, like, in the future we're gonna have a robo taxi fleet. They are doing it right now, as opposed to Elon Musk. Yeah, Waymo's latest funding round boosted to a $45 billion evaluation. Also, I don't care about this. This stuff, I hate this, okay? This is all fake. Money is fake. All of this is fake. I don't care. Oh my God. I don't care how much money they've, how many, I don't care what their valuation is. I don't care how much fundraising they engage in. I don't care. All of this is fake. Everything's computer. I love Tesla. Money. Everything is computer. Even the money is computer. Tesla has no interest in developing full self-driving. They're using 360 cameras. Everyone knows LiDAR is superior. Yeah. They're cash flow positive, not bankrupt like that chatter suggested. Yeah, I just don't know why that person is still dick riding Tesla into oblivion. But I guess it's good. It's cool to see, because you wonder, like, what kind of person is still in the holy year of 2025, the year of our Lord, still dick riding Elon so hard that they think he's doing something bold, brave, and beautiful, or believe the fucking nonsensical bullshit that he says on a regular basis. And here it is, you know what I mean? There are still people, and there even are among us in this community as well. Hate to be a stickler. Bro, you were drinking this past weekend. What do you mean struggle with alcoholism? Heavy drinking is not alcoholism. Alcoholism is a chronic illness. No, Okay, chatter. Thank you for telling me about my experiences. Yes, I know that I have to constantly fucking monitor my behavior in that regard. I actually don't drink at all under normal circumstances, with very, very unique exceptions. Addiction, let me tell you something about addiction. And I'm sure you know this, considering how touchy this is for you. Addiction is different for different people, okay? It's more so about letting it get completely out of hand. I am not at a stage, like, I will never smoke another cigarette again, because I know the one puff that I take is over, I'm back into it, okay? Because I've quit smoking and then restarted over and over again throughout my life. But with alcohol, after I got arrested for a DUI and never prosecuted for it because I wasn't actually drunk driving, I quit cold turkey for a year and a half, almost 2 years. That allowed me to basically every now and then be able to drink without completely fucking relapsing. You don't have to completely relapse at the first sight of alcohol to be, I assume, to be considered a fucking full-blown alcoholic. That's why I say I struggled with alcoholism. Okay? I can't believe you're gatekeeping this, dude. I appreciate the explanation. I think we're just going to have a semantic disagreement on this, but it's not a big deal. Didn't mean to police you. Okay. Well, in any case, I don't know if you guys have ever been here when I've described addiction, but I feel like from my own judgment, from what I've experienced, like the way I see addiction is like the time it takes from your first puff of a cigarette to an entire fucking pack a day. Okay? If the entire pack a day is like the worst version of this, in my experience, what I have seen from my cycle of quitting and restarting, I realize that addiction over the years shortens that time frame from going from one puff to a fucking full pack of cigs. And the same with alcohol as well. Going from one drink socially to complete blackout all the fucking time. Okay? That is like, for some people, they can go a whole lifetime without ever letting it get out of hand. I don't know how. They're like fucking aliens to me. But even today, even right now, if I drank beers at Coachella, right? If I drank the next day and the next day, okay? And the next day, I would relapse. So the time frame between the time between being able to socially engage in the act of drinking for a little bit versus like complete collapse, complete fucking relapse, there's a boundary there. Like for me, For alcohol, it's not like cigarettes. Cigarettes, one puff and I'm out. For alcohol, I can, drink casually every now and then. But if I were to continue doing it, if I were to continue going out and drinking night after night after night, I would completely relapse and I'd be blacking out non-fucking stop as I used to back in the day. I'm very fortunate that I was surrounded by good friends and I was able to catch this before it became a much larger problem, so I can still every now and then engage in social drinking without it becoming a problem for me. It's not the same for other people. It's not the same for other folks. Please accept functional alcohol. People can accept functional alcoholism, but not this. I get so tired of people gatekeeping struggles. Yeah. I just re-quit literally today 4 times and learned this lesson, brother. Some shit. Even one lick will get you. Yeah. Are you sharing with us that you're an alcoholic? No, I'm not. I wouldn't say that I am, but I have said that I have struggled with alcoholism. It's not something that I keep a secret. It's something I talked about quite a bit. Anyway, much love to all the people who have quit cold turkey, who are sober. All right. Can't believe we started the day off with a chatter gatekeeping alcoholism. We came to that conclusion off of defending Elon Musk. Cool. All right. Are you going to talk about Kashmir today? Probably not. Maybe. Important message for Brace Belden. Please boost this. What? Hey, TrueAnon. Check out this Portuguese specimen. I mean, he's tiny, but he looks like he's in shape, as opposed to American cops who are tiny and not in shape. You know what I mean? All right. We're live. Let's get into it. Elon Musk to step back from working in the Trump administration. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It turns out your voices matter and bullying works. Okay? Don't ever let anybody tell you it doesn't.
Elon Musk saying he will spend significantly less time in Washington and step back from his work with Doge as Tesla reported a more than 70% decline in profit for the first 3 months of the year. Our senior political correspondent Rachel Scott is here with the story. Good morning, Rachel.
Hey, Rebecca, good morning to you. Well, Elon Musk has one.
Doesn't that line up with the 100 days of being a special employee anyway, though? Yeah, except what has this administration actually followed through on? Technically, you have 120 days as a special employee designation for Elon Musk, so it actually does line up with when his time was up. Having said that, however, this administration doesn't give a fuck about any of those things. If he was actually killing it and was super popular, you think that he would stop? Of course not. No. The reason why he's quitting, the reason why he's quiet quitting or full-blown quitting is, and I called this already, the Wisconsin special election was a major blow to Elon Musk. He wanted to be the money warrior for Donald Trump. He was like, oh, I'm going to bully anyone that comes after my goat, comes after my God King. If you come after him, you come after me. I will spend all the money I have to primary you. Turns out when he actually shows up to a race, it has a negative impact. Turns out people fucking despise him. People think he is annoying and cringe and a gross little loser, a freakish little guy. Hard to look at, really, right? So that was a major blow because he flopped. He flopped big time. And Donald Trump hates losers, okay? So when he got branded as the big fat L, that made that relationship that he has with Donald Trump, that placed that relationship that he has with Donald Trump on shaky grounds. He was already a diva, and so is Donald Trump, and these guys are both narcissistic assholes, right? And for that reason, there was always back and forth, but at least like Elon Musk, the money and influence that he had was allowing him entry into the White House and to be prominently displayed. Donald Trump also probably utilized them as a deflective shield, basically to prop him up as the guy that you should be annoyed at in order to shelter himself from some of the negative consequences of the actions that he's taking at the administration. So there's a couple different reasons why Elon is no longer in favor at the White House, but I think the most significant one is the fact that he might have the money, but it clearly doesn't go the distance as it once did. Okay? But if you were to think that Elon Musk would not have redoubled his efforts at Doge and all the power and prominence that he has enjoyed within the White House, if he was actually killing it right now by his own metrics, if Doge wasn't seen as like a pathetically unpopular and also incredibly incompetent group that is engaging in mass layoffs at the federal level, then he would have continued working. He would have continued doing the special boy of the administration status that he has.
Has been one of the president's most powerful advisors.
Trump doesn't need his money anymore. He won the election. You're wrong. If there's one thing that rich people like, it's making more money and getting more money. Okay, so that's number one. And number two, no, Trump likes the fact that Elon Musk said he was going to be Trump's attack dog. He was going to fund races and primary out Trump's opponents within the Republican Party, and also advance Trump's agenda with his money. He was going to go out and actually do the things that he was doing in the Wisconsin race. Once it was a failure, a spectacular failure, it was over. He no longer has that. He no longer has that motion.
But he now says he will be spending less time in the Trump administration.
He lost 1,000 aura points for that Wisconsin L. It was a big flop, and everybody realized maybe Elon does not have the motion that he claims to have. That level of aura loss is going to cause him to fall out of favor with our zesty king, Donald Trump.
Administration, and more time focused on his business as it faces backlash. Overnight, billionaire Elon Musk telling Tesla shareholders that his work with the Department of Government Efficiency is winding down.
I think starting probably next month, in May, my time allocation to Doge will drop significantly.
The world's richest man insisting he will stay with the Trump administration, at least part-time, but will focus on his business.
Starting next month, I'll be allocating far more of my time to Tesla.
He sounds like a little boy that was sent to the principal's room and was scolded. Starting next month, I'm going to do less of the things that I've been doing. USA. In spite of the neurodivergence, you can still see a dramatic tonal shift here, I feel like. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. Maybe I'm being parasocial, but like it does feel like he comes across dejected.
His remarks coming after his company Tesla announced a 9% drop in revenue from January to March and a staggering 71% drop in profits in the first quarter. The electric car giant blaming the growing trade war and, quote, changing political sentiment, which could have a meaningful impact on demand for our products in the near term.
As people know, there's been some blowback for the time that I've been spending in government with the Department of Government Efficiency, or Doge.
The company's CEO has become a divisive figure since heading up the president's effort to shrink the size of the federal government. His high profile making Tesla a target. The Department of Justice already charging multiple people in several states for attacking dealerships and lighting multiple Tesla vehicles on fire. So Elon Musk also said that he will continue to push the White House for lower tariffs. In recent weeks, he has openly fought with the president's economic advisors over the administration's trade policy, guys.
All right, Rachel, thank you.
Ultimately, one company that has reported their earnings, first quarter earnings yesterday, was Tesla. And Tesla, the stock is now up, but yesterday their net income was announced. It's down 71%. And Elon Musk even said, he admitted that Tesla faced a lot of blowback from his ties to Donald Trump. And now he's talking, and we're going to play a little snippet of it. He says, you know what, maybe I better go back to the car company because they need me.
Starting probably in next month, May, my time allocation to Doge will drop significantly. So I think I'll continue to spend, a day or two per week on government matters for as long as the president would like me to do so, and as long as it is useful. But starting next month, I'll be allocating far more of my time to Tesla. And now that the major work with establishing the Department of Government Efficiency is done, there are some challenges, and I expect that this year will be there'll probably be some unexpected bumps this year.
Are you crying? Are you crying, Elon? Damn, dude. I'm sorry that your project of dismantling the federal government was short-lived and you didn't get all the benefits that you wanted out of it. I'm sorry, dude. I feel so bad. I feel so bad about all the internal drama that he had with like Trump's inner circle as well. Apparently there was like some appointment issues as well. Like he wanted to have his guy in the IRS. Trump had, other people in the Trump orbit had different plans. They won, he lost. I mean, don't worry. Like they're still going to crash and burn. They're still going to slash spending as they have done so far. Layoffs will probably still continue to happen at the federal government. Make no mistake. It's just that like Elon is not going to be able to run around the White House in the way that he did, I suspect.
I remain extremely optimistic about the future of the company.
So investors are happy to hear that, hoping he's going to refocus his efforts on.
Yeah, this is what I was referencing, the internal drama between him and Scott Bessent. This is the White House reporter for Axios, Mark Capito. Musk versus Bessent dispute erupted into the West Wing shouting match. Two billionaire middle-aged men thinking it was WWE in the hall of the West Wing. Elon Musk and Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent got into a heated shouting match in earshot of President Trump and other officials in the White House last week during a dispute about the IRS. Two witnesses and three sources briefed on the matter tell Axios. It was two billionaire middle-aged men thinking it was WWE in the hall of the West Wing. One witness said of the argument last Thursday. Why it matters, the clash with both men in each other's face showed how much Musk's personality and style have rankled some senior administration officials since he began running roughshod through agencies with Doge. I'm not even kidding when I say this. I think a major part of why there is like discontent towards Elon is not even because he's like he has his own, like he has his difference in opinion with the way that the administration is doing stuff, like, you know, with the tariffs or whatever. But the reason why I think is because he is such an unlikable fucking douchebag. I'm not kidding when I say this. A big chunk of this is because he cannot play ball with anybody else. He is he has an ego the size of Mars, which he ironically keeps lying and saying that he's going to go to. He is so repulsive and people don't want to be around him. And I think like when you're in the White House, like a lot of those guys we look at from the outside and we think, oh, this guy's a dumbass. This is, this guy sucks, whatever. But a lot of those guys are at least to a certain degree charismatic. You have to be in order to go out and fundraise. You have to be charismatic in order to get to that level. Like you have to know how to play ball with other people. Elon Musk, on the other hand, has lived an entire life of failing upwards and creating a false sense of self, and therefore doesn't know how to do any of that shit. Like, think about it. His pivotal moment, the pivotal moment in Elon Musk's life was when he got fired from PayPal, forced out of PayPal by Peter Thiel, which still gave him a massive exit package, like not even an exit package, but he still retained shares over PayPal, and he took all of that money and then kept buying other companies in the process. So the last time he actually did something, the last time he actually worked, that led to a lot of failure at PayPal to begin with. But since then, it's all been capital accumulation. So he doesn't know how to be a normal guy who can fucking have a conversation. So a lot of people are not going to put up with the, autistic wizard nonsense that he tries to present himself as, because they're not, like, the dudes who are in the White House are not his, like, cryptocurrency douchebag followers. You know what I mean? These are people who are also independently successful and some of them are sharks. So they're not going to sit around and act like Elon Musk dick riders. They're going to inevitably be resentful. They're not going to simp for him in the way that, like, people who are incredibly likely to fall for a cryptocurrency scheme would. So yeah, you're wrong though. All he has to do is wiggle his fork sculpture and Trump will buy another Tesla for every American. Yeah. Also, RFK probably hates that Elon Musk is autistic. RFK is like, this guy is one of the people that doesn't pay taxes and can't poop on the toilet unassisted. We have to put him on a list. Elon, let me dissect your brain. I need to see if you have the same kind of worm that I have. Have full-blown autism. The New York Times first reported Friday that Bessent and Musk had a disagreement over who would lead the IRS. But the chest-to-chest clash, oh, and Elon does have a barrel chest, between the two men a day earlier has not been reported previously. They were not physical in the Oval, but the president saw it, and they carried it down the hall, and that's when they did it again. Said a second, it was quite a scene. It was loud, and I mean loud. Dude, that's, oh God, I wish I could see. I would pay so much money to see that. Like Elon getting in people's faces. Oh my God, that'd be so sick. Baba, ihtiyacımız var mı bir şeye? Söyle ne varsa bana bir yaz ver alayım. Okay. Brother, it feels like every behelit on earth has been activated at the same time. Yeah, this is the closest we've ever been to, like, you know, a rapture style governance, like the spawn of Satan, really accelerating things. Asked about the shouting match, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt referred to comments she made to the Times about how it's no secret President Trump has put together a team of people who are incredibly passionate about the issues impacting our country. Yeah, no. President Trump put together a team where you have people that are all sharks that want to steal as much money as possible. And they sometimes are like, hey, you're stealing my money that I should be stealing instead. So then, you know, they butt heads over that. It's like, it's great. That, and also they're incompetent, narcissistic monsters with incredible egos. So obviously they're constantly going to be fighting. Anyway, representatives from Musk and Besant acknowledged the shouting match happened, but declined the comment. Musk has had high-profile disputes with Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, and Trade Advisor Peter Navarro as well. Everyone thinks Doge is great, but Elon's antics are a bit much, another administration official said. There was also coverage on the New York Times or was it Washington Post? I can't remember. That talked about, that went and got notes from anonymous administration officials that said that Elon is so fucking annoying that they want to kill themselves when they listen to him drone on and on about dumb, nonsensical bullshit. So clearly, so clearly, you know, people just don't like him. I think his vibes are really fucked, and that actually plays a role in his lack of support within the administration. Whereas someone like Pete Hegseth, like I'll say this, someone like Pete Hegseth is the exact opposite of Elon. A dude, unless you're a woman that he wants to sexually assault, Pete Hegseth is absolutely the type of guy that other creepy sex pests will fucking love to be around. Okay, he's a TV guy, he's fun, you know, he drinks fucking brewskis on the job, he's a big dude, bro, he makes people feel young again. So he is the exact opposite of Elon Musk. I mean, they're identical in terms of how incompetent they are, okay, but he is all style, no substance. Elon Musk, no style and no substance. That's it. He is like the old school. He's the old school kind of guy that, you know, could get a job with a handshake. Okay. That's who Pete Hegseth is. He's like, he's got a firm handshake. He gets the job. And before you know it, he's elevated himself into a status that within the company that he certainly has no competence to fulfill the role. He'll just get there simply because he knows how to play ball with other dudes who are more powerful than he is.
Tesla. He's saying it's because political sentiment, he thinks, and the uncertainty in the automotive and energy markets, but he has some plans coming up. He's on track to launch this robo-taxi business out of Austin, Texas within the next few months. And then he said the second half.
Dude, what is happening today? All the old folks are dropping like flies. Senator Dick Durbin, Jan Schakowsky. This is like, there is a crazy situation taking place within the Democratic Party right now. What the hell? Dick Durbin also is dropping? Oh my God, Chuck Schumer, please do it. Oh my God, Chuck Schumer, do it, do it, do it, do it. Drop, you pussy. Chuck Schumer, do not seek out re-election and endorse Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. As a matter of fact, don't endorse Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. That might have a negative association. That might actually that might actually be a problem. Oh my God, the purge is happening. Inshallah, we're going to have young people in office now. Oh my Lord. Do you think Dem establishment is getting out all the old folks so they can put the younger neolibs that they got from the Gillibrand template? I think that's probably what they're going to try to do. The hog is burning down the old folks home. I mean, I am kind of shocked if that's the case.
half of next year, 2026, he's going to have millions of Teslas operating fully autonomously. So are those the self-driving Teslas?
And the other thing is robots. He's got the Tesla robots rolling out. And if you see some of this.
No, he's not. He doesn't have any of this stuff. Dude, this motherfucker's been saying he's going to be flying to Mars any day now for like the past decade, okay? He just lies, dude. You don't. I hate that when you're the administration's guy, Fox News has to sit there and be like, yeah, he's got robots that will suck you. And it's great. And definitely, he's going to do all of the things that he's promised. Like, no, man, a lot of fucking business people just lie, okay? That's what they do. And especially if, like, their stock prices don't reflect a downtrend when they are called out for lying, or when people are supposed to recognize that they're lying, their stock performance doesn't take a major dive or a major hit, then they just keep lying. Ever heard of unsupervised FSD June? Yeah, every year since 2017. Give me one time in history he said it would give me one time in history he said it would be the same year. Here's 36 times, but it only goes until 2022. So realistically, we're probably near 50 by now. I cannot believe that we have a billionaire that is lying to us over and over again. It's so crazy. This makes no sense. What the hell? Did you hear about the heterosexual pride festival in my hometown of Boise, Idaho? It was started by a chud who thinks the earth is flat and socialism is family choking leash. Also got asked for donations to a bar in order to fund him buying a Cybertruck. So glad I left that shithole. I love this story. We might look at that in a little bit. That sounds amazing. That sounds fucking amazing. Actually, you know what? Let's take a look. What is this?
The Heterosexual Awesomeness Festival is coming to Boise. This isn't just another festival. It's a movement, a celebration.
This is amazing. This is soy right, dude. This is soy right. You're watching the soy right movement grow.
Of faith, family, and freedom right in the heart of Idaho. For 2 action-packed days, we're to honor the values that built this nation. Join us for an unforgettable experience filled with live music and bands that share our vision and rock the stage with pride. Inspirational speakers who are on the front lines defending traditional family values. A family fun-free kids zone featuring games and bounce houses for all ages. Savor the best of local cuisine with ice-cold beer and wines. And artisan vendor booths to connect with family-owned businesses and supporters.
I'm hetero and this is the gayest thing I've ever seen. Is this an SNL sketch? Will there be a wiener measuring contest like last year? So a bunch of straight men getting together to celebrate being straight sounds super gay to me. This is giving Sundown Town vibes. Finally, a safe space for people who say no homo after making eye contact. Oh my God, they're cooking them.
This festival is more than just an event. It's a declaration that faith.
First of all, a parade is gay as fuck. There is no way out of it, okay? Even if it's like a North Korean military parade, parades functionally are gay. It's just like, you know, it's going to be really hard to convince people that you're not doing some gay shit when you're like, I want to do a parade, okay? Thanksgiving Day parade, gay as fuck. But the very fact that you're trying to do a parade with like hard-dicked men, it makes it extra gay. Just, I don't know, just play with a penis, dude. Play with your boy's penis, okay? It's going to be a less gay endeavor for you. Just play with your boy's penis.
Family and freedom are worth protecting. We're reminding everyone of what truly matters. Together, let's make the Heterosexual Awesomeness Festival a resounding success. We're seeking for bands, volunteers, vendors, and sponsors who share our vision. Mark your calendars for June 20th and 21st, 2025 at the Cecil D. Andrus Park by the Capitol Building. Be part of...
Grindr's going to go crazy that weekend in Boise. Yeah. Oh, yeah. All right. Thank you for bringing this to my attention, chatter. I am going to this. Yeah. This is where you find this is pound for pound where you're going to find the highest density of dudes who are questioning. Okay. Opportunity strikes now for all the gay boys in Idaho. This is where you're going to find all the questioning dudes. Okay. Yeah, it's pride for closeted men. Did you see Rob Amado getting shredded on that Wine Mom Lib podcast for caving to right-wing framing? That was pretty funny. First of all, the Wine Mom Lib podcast are my fucking friends, okay? just so you know, and they're doing a fantastic job with that. So yeah, I did hear a lot of people hyping them up. Yeah, those are friends of the show right there. Bro, stop moaning into the mic or I will start questioning. What do you mean? Am I moaning? Maybe. I don't know. All right. Anyway, let's keep going. So there's internal drama, and these guys are glazing Elon Musk. Let's keep going, and then we'll continue.
The robots are more athletic than us. I mean, they can go down a mountain. They could do a tough mutter. So, and I need somebody that understands me, and I'm hoping that this robot could be one of the people.
That's why when you would watch the Jetsons back in the day, you identified with Rosie.
Right. Absolutely. Rosie
Rosie the robot.
The housekeeper.
Was the housekeeper.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Did a great job. She had wheels.
Was the robotic
right? Didn't she have wheels? Elon Musk has feet. Right?
Okay.
Like, and also, what was the Lost in Space robot? The worst robot ever.
Not
to be lost in space.
I like that we're just making shit up. Like, these are not things that are happening. We don't know what the actual timeline looks like. Elon Musk is not an individual that is. Elon Musk is not a orator that you can trust. He has lied routinely about every single technological development at his company. So, don't know why we're taking him at his word here. Elon Musk is the Israel of tech developments. It's just always fucking lying. Okay. So I like that they're fantasizing about all the shit that Elon Musk said and then being like, why don't you like this? I thought liberals liked robots. I thought liberals liked technology. Why do they hate technology? It's like, no, dude, they hate Elon.
Remember?
Oh, but
yeah,
a number name?
Yeah, it was just a robot. It had arms like on
Danger, Will Robinson.
Yeah, it was a bad robot.
Yeah.
It made you not want to. No neck.
Elon did not build that one.
Right.
No. Elon, Tesla did say one thing about the tariffs yesterday, and they said that the tariffs are making its energy storage business, it's impacting them harder because obviously they need the rare earth, the rare minerals to make the batteries and stuff like that. Musk even told the president, look, tariffs are a bad idea, but Musk also supports the president. He's got a different vision, and they're going through with it. It's just going to make making batteries more complicated.
Just noted. Remember that Elon Musk is going to donate money and Donald Trump is going to do whatever he wants. No. Howard Lutnick would be the Treasury Secretary if he listened to Elon Musk. Elon Musk didn't want the tariffs, but he respects that he's not the president. Right. And I would say this, there's got to be like 10 major items for national security that when this trade war is over, we just have to bring it back. And rare earths is another. We have to be able to refine it. We have to be able to do it because...
Yeah, again, how are we going to do that? Oh, that's right. Elon Musk's robots will be able to do that, right? Since we're in the business of fantasizing about shit that hasn't happened with no way of happening, we might as well continue fantasizing, you know? Oh, dude, you don't understand. Elon Musk's robots will actually do the refinery. Okay? It's great. And Elon Musk will just use those robots to build the factories. He'll build them tomorrow. Open Pokemon packs, you giant. Dude, shut up. God damn. Calm down, brother. What the fuck are you talking about? Open Pokemon packs. The hell? Did you already cover the White House wants women to sex topic? Had the dip for a ship? A super curious? Yeah, we'll get to that in a little bit.
China will hold this over our heads in any conflict, military or economic, unless we start doing it ourselves.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
Polling debunks Musk's excuse that his unpopularity collapse of Tesla is because of paid protesters.
I think the protests are really starting to bug them.
Yeah, they are. Of course they are. There are millions of people that are actively taken to the streets basically on a weekly basis. Of course that's going to have an impact. Of course it's going to have an impact. That's why it's so funny that XUC was like, oh, dude, what do you mean your voices matter? It's because people are torching Teslas. It's like, dude, the very fact that you got people so agitated that they're torching Teslas is, again, the point that I am making. The point that I am making is that people fucking despise this dude.
I don't know if it's the number of protests or the number of people protesting or the fact that the protests really aren't going away and they keep seeming to grow. I don't know if it's the tenor and good humor and peaceful nature of the protest that's bugging them, but I think they're really getting bugged. I think it is really getting under their skin. And here's one way we can tell. Let's say you're the head of a big car company, and then something happens to your car company. And it's not happening to all car companies. It's not happening to the car sector, right? In fact, it's not happening to any other car company at all. It's only happening to your car company, and it's not good. Headline, CNN, Tesla profits plunge. Headline, Washington Post, Tesla earnings plunge. Headline, New York Times, Tesla's 71% drop in profit. Headline, USA Today, Tesla profits fall 71%. Headline, Wall Street Journal, Tesla profit sinks. Headline, Reuters, Tesla sales skid. If you are the head of a company that is having a day like that, how do you spend that day? How do you spend that day that
God, I can't stand Rachel Maddow. I'm sorry. It's just like it's so hard for me. It's so hard for me to listen to Rachel Maddow talk about this. Like, she's right and she's flexing because like she has every opportunity to flex here. She has every right to flex here. But god damn, I can't stand it. Libs are on it though. Look at this, 500,000 likes. Holy
below
shit!
market expectations?
500,000
it's
views.
really, really below market expectations. The first quarter of last year, Tesla made $1.4 billion. The first quarter of this year, we learned today, you can drop the billion off of that. They went from $1.4 billion in the first quarter of last year to $0.4 billion this quarter. And even that was less than it appears. Tesla not only had that 71% drop in profit off of what they did last year, the profit they did have is not from selling cars. Quote, Tesla would have actually lost hundreds of millions of dollars this quarter had it not earned $400 million in interest on cash and investments, and had it not earned $595 million from selling credits to other car makers, which themselves failed to meet emissions regulations. So yeah, it looks like they made $0.4 billion. It looks like they made $400 million, but they would have been $600 million in the negative for this quarter. They would have lost $600 million this quarter if they hadn't had cash and investments, interest payments, and credits that were paid to them from other car companies because of anti-climate change. I
already covered all this. All right, let's just move on.
Latest on President Trump's
Donald
trade
Trump
war.
is back and said the money molestation will stop. Okay. Donald Trump came out and said, I'm sorry for molesting the money. I'm not going to molest it any longer. Just a little bit of diddling. Just diddling. We're going to diddle the money, but no more molestation. He's just getting yelled at again by the same fucking libtards that he hated the last time around. And I guess he's caving. It's just, yeah, this is funny. Bro is shadowboxing and getting owned. Yeah, it's a real Baki situation. You know what I mean? You got Baki Hama getting his ass beat by his dad in his dreams, okay? This man came out and was like, I'm gonna molest the money. It's me. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna put my hands all over the money. The bag is mine. And in a matter of like 3 weeks, it came out that, you know, nobody is fucking with him. All right. Nobody's rocking with Trump. America no longer has the motion that it once had. Lo and behold, everyone's shocked, except you wouldn't be shocked if you were watching me in the process, because I kept fucking saying that this is inevitably going to happen. He tried to go after China and say he's going to do 7 trillion. He's going to do trillions of dollars in revenue. He's going to make trillions of dollars of revenue by just like doing 400% tariffs on China or whatever. With the express purpose of trying to decouple from our largest trading partner that comprises in and of itself 30% of our trade. And lo and behold, turns out everyone is getting Chinese goods, all the goods that have components that are getting manufactured in China. So obviously you can't just do something like this without nuking global trade in its entirety. Donald Trump also obviously famously did this by attacking all of his allies first as well, Mexico and Canada, which was insane, once again. Especially insane considering that he had previously written a deal with Canada and Mexico in the first tenure, the USMCA trade agreement, that he was now reneging on. And, you know, turns out a lot of this stuff has had shockingly negative consequences for him. And he is slowly but surely unwinding. In the process, he also said he was going to fire the Fed chair. Now, we don't even know if he has the power to be able to do so. It seems like something that Congress has to do. And it turns out Trump is no longer doing money molestation. It turns out he is, he's scaling back the money molestation that he was engaging in, scaling back on the tariffs in China, even though China never called him, even though he said he wanted China to call him and China never called. But now he's saying, it's the calmer heads will prevail, he said. And now this, he said that he was going to fire Jerome Powell. And now he says he has no intention. What do you mean?
The president is backing off his threats to fire the Fed chair as his administration talks up a possible tariff deal with China. That sent markets soaring. Chief White House correspondent Mary Bruce has the story. Good morning, Mary.
George, good morning. While the White House is well aware that the president's tariffs and his knocks on the Fed chair have caused turmoil in the markets, and they're trying to reassure anxious investors. The president now painting a rosy picture of these negotiations, but still not offering specifics. After his attacks on the independent chairman of the Federal Reserve spooked markets, this morning President Trump now says he has no intention of firing Jerome Powell, the Fed chair he appointed.
No, I have no intention.
Who appointed this man, Jerome Powell? Who appointed him? What kind of stupid idiot would appoint this guy, Jerome Powell? Part of the deal. I will fire him. Just kidding. I will not fire him. He's a good guy. I like him a lot. I did a very good job appointing him last time around, believe me.
Intention of firing him. I would like to see him be a little more active in terms of his idea to lower interest rates.
A change in tune after the president blasted Powell, calling him a major loser and saying Powell's termination cannot come fast enough. But most legal experts agree the president doesn't have the authority to fire Powell, who has 1 year left in his term. Trump's attacks sending markets into a nosedive. Wall Street is heading to its worst April.
I love these photos, man.
Since the Great Depression. The International Monetary Fund now warning Trump's tariffs will slow economic growth around the world, with the U.S. taking a significant hit. The White House now trying to reassure anxious investors. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent telling investors he expects a, quote, de-escalation of the trade war with China, saying the current situation is unsustainable. But the administration is sending mixed signals about the state of talks with China.
We're going to be very nice. They're going to be very nice. And we'll see what happens. But ultimately, they have to make a deal. I think it's a process that's going to go pretty quickly.
But the Treasury Secretary telling investors something very different, acknowledging China is going to be a slog in terms of the negotiations. The president refusing to say if he's talked directly to Chinese President Xi or if negotiations are underway between the two countries. Mr. President, you said you're ultimately going to make a deal with China, but where do things stand right now? I mean, have you talked to him? The secretary said these negotiations are going to be a slog.
My relationship with President Xi is great.
So you've talked?
It's been great for a long time. We've had a very good relationship, and I think we'll make a deal with China.
Now, despite the lack of specifics, the White House's positive outlook seemed to be enough for Wall Street recovering much of its losses from Monday, George.
Mary, on another front, we have new details on the security breach by the defense secretary.
Yeah, we do. Officials tell us that the attack plans that Defense Secretary Hegseth shared with family and friends on that Signal chat came directly from the CENTCOM commander, though he used highly secure communications to share that. This is the second time that Hegseth has been accused of sharing highly sensitive military plans over Signal. The first, when a journalist was inadvertently added to the chat. Hegseth continues to deny any wrongdoing, and the president is standing by him.
President Trump setting.
I love this. Because this kind of back and forth makes the dick riding of Trump fans undeniable and impossible to argue against. If you start off the conversation with tariffs are amazing and I'm glad that he's doing it, we're going to be onshoring, baby. And then Donald Trump turns around and says no more tariffs actually, except for China. And you say, hell yeah, actually, tariffs were kind of gay, and I'm glad that we're doing tariffs to China, but nobody else, actually. Thank God for our beautiful president. And then he says, I'm going to do tariffs. I'm going to do extra tariffs on China unless Xi Jinping calls me tomorrow. And then there's retaliatory tariffs that come from China, and everyone's like, oh, well, that's actually sick. Like, I'm glad that we're fucking over China. Why don't you make your stuff in America? Even though I make all my stuff in China as well, it turns out. Everything I buy is made in China, whatever. I'm not even going to think about that. Fuck it. It's actually a period of financial instability, but that's normal market stuff. That's normal market shit. Don't worry about it. And then now he's like, okay, I lied. Actually, I'm going to lower the tariffs. I want to de-escalate with China. Come on, please call me, Xi Jinping. And these guys have to turn around and still go, oh, excellent gambit, sir. Thank God you did all of this. Thank God. Thank God Donald Trump did all of this. I mean, oh my God. We really needed this, you know, a shock to the system for no discernible reason whatsoever. Did he accomplish any of his goals? Fuck no. Does it matter? Probably not. Not to his cult, at least. Money is fake. Donald Trump is showing that, and also showing to anyone and everyone that is in the margins that still thinks like, oh, maybe Trump's got some good ideas, that no, he is an incompetent monster. Okay? That's it.
The stage for a trade deal with China as the administration says they could scale back on some of the new tariffs soon.
What happened? What happened? What happened? What happened? What's going to happen to all of the art of the deal people? Will anyone check in on them? Will they go, is this the deal? Is this the art or is this the deal? Where is the art of the deal? You just put a gun to your mouth and say you're going to fucking pull the trigger and then everyone's like, yeah, do it, pussy. Who cares? And then that's it. And then you're like, just kidding.
Hurry. Mark Meredith is at the White House with details. Mark, have the conversations with China actually started? Because it sounds like things are heading that way.
Steve Ainsley and Brian, good morning, friends. Well, Steve,
no, the answer is no. China has not, as a matter of fact, responded to the United States of America at all. They not only did not concede to the United States of America, they actually yesterday came out with a threat against the involvement. They came out with a threat against all of the other partners of the United States of America, as they are going through their own negotiations. And part of those negotiations are decoupling, forcing them to decouple from China, right? That's what America wants. America's saying, like, you have to also put tariffs on Chinese goods. You have to also decouple your trade from China. So China came out and said, this is like getting in the pen with a tiger. It will be dangerous for the European parties involved if you follow through on the Trump administration's belligerent demands, then you're only going to hurt yourself in the process. So not only did China not call the Trump administration yet, I do suspect that that will come eventually because they want stability. But on top of that, they also said, don't fucking put tariffs on Chinese goods if you're a European trade partner. What are you doing? Same with Japan. Same with all of the Asian partners. Yeah. China said, we'll go ban for ban. And they have been. They have been going. So then nothing ever happens. Chuds were right. I mean, this is very much things happening moment. I don't know what you mean by this. Nothing ever happens. Chuds don't think that there would ever be a multipolar world. Under normal circumstances, America could basically enforce its wishes upon China and all of the other global trade partners like that. There would be no issue whatsoever. Do you understand? The past couple of weeks for our global trade partners has been a moment of reconsideration, if they're smart enough, of course.
The White House was asked yesterday whether or not the president's engaged in a one-on-one talk with President.
Do you think China will back down without gaining serious concessions out of this from America? I don't think they'll get a lot of concessions from America. I think China will actually concede in an effort to maintain global trade stability. That's what my suspicion is. They'll offer something. They'll offer something to Donald Trump to make it seem like he's a big boy who actually did this, who dominated little old China. That's my suspicion. And the only reason why they will do that is because they benefit from global trade working the way it currently does. I don't think China at this stage wants to be the global reserve currency. Keep coping, man. I mean, I've been right so far. I don't know why you think I'd be wrong on this assessment. I mean, it's speculation, but I think China is incredibly restrained when it comes to its foreign policy and incredibly reasonable, sometimes even reasonable to a fault, really, when it comes down to trying to maintain global order, because they have worked within the existing structure and have seen tremendous success within. G won't bend the knee to the paper tiger. No, it's not a real bending of the knee, dummy. It's not. I never said that. I'm saying China will make slight concessions to the Trump administration to make it feel like, so that Trump can just, stroke his ego and present a W, like, oh, we dominated China. But before that happens, and it hasn't happened yet, obviously, this period of unprecedented global trade instability and market volatility is happening because China, I think, wants to use the temper tantrum being thrown by the fucking idiot in charge as a way to remind their global trade partners who the adults in the room actually are. I don't think that China wants, China's long-term interests do not revolve around, especially right now, becoming the global the global reserve currency, like replacing the dollar. I don't think they want to do that. I think they still have a lot more development. They want to keep developing their secondary markets, and they want to develop themselves as well. And it's not beneficial for China to become the global reserve currency in which trade is being conducted, because that would require, at least in the current landscape, in the way that politics works, international affairs works, in the current landscape, you need 800 military bases for that. China doesn't have 800 military bases.
Of China and the White House not willing to go on the record with that, an indication that these conversations are still not happening at the most senior levels.
If you think China will make slight concessions, doesn't that mean that you think Trump holds more cards over them? No, the only fucking reason why they will inevitably make slight concessions in an effort to make it seem like Donald Trump won this fucking battle is because they still want... Donald Trump is saying, I have a nuke. I am going to nuke myself and the entire global marketplace. Of course, China doesn't want the entire global trade design to be nuked overnight. They stand to benefit from the way trade is conducted on the international stage. What do you mean? Yes, when you are the United States of America, putting a gun to your mouth and saying I'm going to pull the trigger is going to be quite impactful for that reason. America basically is looking at the situation in front of them. They've recognized that China is lapping us, okay? They recognize that China is far more developed. They recognize that China controls the refinement process for key resources that are necessary. Like, they have a lot of power, okay? And if you look at it like a board game, America basically recognizes that China is winning the board game. So they're saying, I'm going to literally flip the fucking table. I'm going to flip the table right now. If you don't, as a negotiation tactic, they're saying, I'm going to fucking flip the table if you don't meet my insane demands. But there are other players on the board game as well. And they're noticing that America is fucking saying they want to flip the table, which will create unprecedented chaos. Nobody wants that. So now China is looking at the other players on the table and saying, you see, this guy's a fucking asshole. He wants to blow up this goddamn game. I still want to play the game. Maybe I'll win the game in the end, but I still want to play the game. Do you want to continue playing the game, or do you want this person to fucking flip the table and no one wins? You are admitting that Trump holds the cards. I think you guys are some of the densest motherfuckers I've ever encountered in my entire life. If China wanted to flip the table, they could too. That doesn't mean they hold the cards, you fucking moron. If Trump held all the cards as the global hegemon, then China would have conceded overnight. Why has that not happened yet? Like, actually, fully conceded. Is this all the fucking Asmongolddians that aren't getting? You don't let the bully get away? What? That's not how international relations work, man. What are you talking about? Nobody wants nukes to be launched, okay? Obviously. So you have to play you have to play this delicate tightrope when the guy controlling the global reserve currency is trying to fucking nuke it into oblivion for no reason, for no discernible reason. It takes time. You have to solidify your relationship with your global trade partners outside of America, because many of the most important markets that still import from China are within the sphere of American influence.
Either way, all three major U.S. stock indexes are set to open sharply higher today, given some of the news the president and Treasury Secretary made within the last 24 hours, suggesting that the trade war won't last forever. As you all three know, there's been a major sell-off on Wall Street ever since the trade war began.
We're doing fine with China. We're doing fine with I think almost every country.
This is great, yeah. Breaking, Scott Bessent has said in response to Trump's tariff announcements, more than 100 countries have approached us wanting to help rebalance global trade. In response to my coming into the room with a bomb strapped to my chest, more than 100 people have approached me wanting to help keep everyone alive. That's a perfect analogy.
In response to President Trump's tariff announcements, more than 100 countries have approached us wanting to help rebalance global trade.
Like, it was already, dude. Amazing. What they're stating here is that, yeah, we said we're going to fuck up the bag for everybody. We're going to fuck ourselves up, and it doesn't matter because we're insane. This is a suicide cult. So, yeah, now people are coming to us and being like, please don't do that. Whatever you want, just don't do that. That would be terrifying for everyone involved. Yeah. Ironically enough, one of the famous instances of these countries coming over was Japan. Japan is a fucking vassal state, okay? We wrote their constitution. We have so much control over Japanese affairs. Okay? We, as in the United States of America. And they were one of the first countries to directly come in and bring in a trade committee to talk to the Trump administration about what their demands were. They left with no deal. And they said, in the aftermath of those trade negotiations, that Americans were so belligerent that they didn't even know what they wanted out of Japan. So what do you do with that information? That's the one country that is supposed to unconditionally offer full-throated support to the United States of America. And they're like, we want to support you, but we don't even know what you want. We want to support you, Mr. President, Mr. Trump. Okay, you are the great white hope, but we don't even know what you want. What do you do? What do you do?
These countries have responded openly and positively to the president's actions to create a more balanced international system. We are engaged in meaningful discussions and look forward to talking with others. In response to President Trump's tariff...
Yeah, he got yelled at, by the way, because CEOs warned that there would be empty shelves and mass inflation. A lot of people geared up for his tariff threats early on. And, you know, Apple was sending 5 cargo planes worth of merchandise. They literally shipped in 5 planes full of merchandise to the United States of America to at least like withstand the first couple of months of Donald Trump's insane tariff shit until he calms down, right? And all of these guys have done the same. A lot of these companies have basically tried to make up for what kind of loss of revenue they're going to have and loss of inventory that they're going to experience once the tariffs hit, right? So there is like a month and a half remaining on readily available inventory. So they had to go to Donald Trump and be like, okay, we thought you would have stopped this tariff shit by now, but seems like you're still pushing it. So we are here to inform you that, you know, you got 2 months maximum until you're looking at empty shelves and massive panic by consumers.
Everybody wants to have involvement with the United States. 145% is very high, and it won't be that high. We were talking about fentanyl, where, you know, various...
I think the only thing you're not considering is that a supply shock of any kind right now, like a conflict in the Middle East started by a genocidal 51st state, would nosedive our economy. And I don't know if China / the rest of the world wants to pick up U.S. debt at the moment.
Elements built it up to 145. No, it won't be anywhere near that high.
Making the corpos bleed is kind of cool, though. Yeah, except you live here. You don't live in Germany. So when the corpos are bleeding, you also don't get to purchase the things that you need. I think a lot of people fail to consider that a lot of this impact certainly will hurt rich people, but it'll hurt rich people a lot less than it hurts you. Like, you won't have access to food. Well, maybe not food, because a lot of agriculture is domestic, but like things that food is packaged in. You know what I mean? Like this right here is a pack of Zyn, okay? 3 milligram coffee flavored nicotine pouch Zyn. This is manufactured in the United States of America, okay? I believe Philip Morris owns it. So the irony is that while this pack of Zyn is manufactured in Richmond, Virginia, the plastic that the package is in is most likely made in China. The plastic is refined in China, and the packaging is most likely made in China. Okay? Even down to the glue that holds this glossy finish sticker on top of the Zyn. You understand? In terms of the Zyn pouches, like the material that's made of the Zyn pouches, like a big part of it is imported. A lot of that is imported from China. When you cut a fuck ton of the things, like it's not like Zyn tomorrow is going to be like, all right, well, I guess we can restructure our procurement strategies and just like, you know, find a fucking plastic manufacturer, like a plastic refinement facility in the United States of America, and find a way to make these cheap ass plastic containers that the Zyns are coming in. You can't do that. Swedish Match is a Swedish company, but their casing is Chinese. I talked to my friend who works there about it. No, but these are produced in American plants, though. I'm pretty sure. Like, what people fail to consider is so much. The way that global trade is designed, like so many of the things that you think are like manufactured or assembled in the United States of America are still relying on parts, ingredients, components that are manufactured in many circumstances China. I don't know what you want me to do. It's my dad's phone, chatters. It's my dad's phone is ringing. What do you want me to do? It's just, you know, it's how it is.
It'll come down substantially, but it won't be zero.
As Fox Business has learned, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent also said something similar to investors this week, that he expects a de-escalation with China in the near future. 2 weeks ago, the White House also pushed pause on imposing sweeping tariffs on almost every U.S. trading partner. It allowed this pause to allow negotiations to continue. So far, though, no new trade deals have been signed, and the White House says stay tuned.
I spoke to our entire trade team this morning. There is a lot of progress being made. We now have 18 proposals on paper that have been brought to the trade team. Again, these are proposals on paper that countries have proposed to the Trump administration and to our government.
The other reason we're seeing so much green on Wall Street before the opening bell is the president made the strong suggestion again that he has no plans to fire the Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell. Just this week, Trump suggested that Powell should have to leave his post.
What happened? I thought China also was going to inevitably cave and concede. I'm just so shocked because I trust my big, beautiful, bold, brave president. I trust my big, beautiful, bold, and brave president to do the right thing. I trust him. I trusted him this whole time. I trusted him when he said tariffs are necessary. I trusted him when he said tariffs are unnecessary. What is happening? What's going on? Are they necessary or are they unnecessary? Are they helpful? Is China coming to the table? Are they not coming to the table? What's going on? I want to trust my big, beautiful boy, but it's, you know, he's seemingly making it harder.
Reserve Chairman, his post isn't up until May of next year, and so there was that suggestion that maybe Trump would try to push him out of the job, but Trump said last night that he no longer feels that is the case, but of course he wants to see interest rates brought down sooner rather than later. Excuse me. Steve, Ainsley, and Brian, back to you guys.
Yeah, the markets seem to like that. So any sense that there'll be any progress made because Norway comes this week? Don't they want a trade deal too?
Well, the White House has been very clear, Brian, that they believe that everybody who's been on that hit list of the different tariffs will want to make a deal at some point. You had the vice president in India talking about trade as well and how to develop a further U.S.-Indian relationship. But in terms of actually getting these deals signed, there's a question about timing because they have to be worked out. It's not that it could just be, written on a napkin and go. There's a lot of complicated language here. And the White House has said simply that their team is working on it. But as lawmakers have been talking about, they want to see progress quickly.
All right. Thank you so much, Mark. This is great news for China. Scott Bassett was at a J.P. Morgan event in Washington, D.C., talking to investors, and he says he expects a de-escalation in the trade war between the U.S. and China. He said no one thinks that the current status quo is sustainable because right now we have the 125% reciprocal tariffs on imports from China, in addition to those 20% tariffs on Chinese goods to curb the flow of fentanyl into the United States.
So one of the things that the White House is asking from all the countries is, okay, if you want to make a deal with us, you got to make a deal with us that you're not going to deal with China. And there are a number of countries that are pushing back on that. In fact, the EU has just come back and they said they will not decouple from China. They said talks with the United States and relations with China are two distinct matters. What the president is trying to do is he's trying to get so many people and countries around China to isolate China so that he's got better negotiation, better leverage.
By the way, two things I want to show you while we're on this subject. I do want to show you this neat little graph, okay? This will be illuminating. Days since U.S. President Trump has spoken with Chinese President Xi Jinping. Inauguration Day, okay? Trump announces 10% tariffs on China, claims to have spoken to Xi recently, but the Chinese ministry doesn't confirm. Raises China tariff to 20%, 25% global tariff on steel and aluminum, which impacts Chinese steel and aluminum as well, of course. Announces China tariff hike to 54%. China tariff goes up to 104%. China tariff goes up to 125%. Clarifies he meant 145%. Says he might cut the China tariff. Bessent still says he might not cut the China tariffs. It's been 96 fucking days. Call me Xi! Why won't she call me? She call me like you did. Whisper sweet nothings into my ear in Mandarin like you used to. I love you, Xi. I love you, Xi. First 100 days, why won't you call? Why won't you call me, Xi? He's like a fucking sad ex. Here's the New York Times source for this graph. It remains unclear when or if the United States and China will begin to engage in talks. Mr. Trump has said he expects to speak with Xi Jinping, China's leader, but no formal conversations have been scheduled. Speaking to the reporters after his remarks, Mr. Bessent dismissed speculation that Mr. Trump was considering unilaterally lowering the tariffs that he has imposed on China before any negotiations with Mr. Xi. Mr. Bessent emphasized that any moves to de-escalate trade tensions would need to be mutual. Yeah, he could take a page out of Hasanabi book and post a hot thirst trap. That's what I'm saying. Trump needs to post meat on the timeline if he wants you to call him. That's what he needs to do. For all of the American hegemony enjoyers, this must be a really weird time. Okay? It's got to be a real weird time if you're like, America is the top dog. What the fuck? And in certain respects, it still is. But it's very strange that if America is the top dog, then why won't Xi call?
With China, but right now we don't know how many countries are saying, okay, if I have to pick between one or the other, I'll go with the United States. We don't know how many.
That's what China said on Monday. They said we're going to threaten countries not to do deals with us, and it hasn't stopped Japan, hasn't stopped South Korea.
Like, he's just saying this. There is no deal that has been conducted with Japan. The Japanese Trade Committee said that there was no deal. Said that they didn't even know what America wanted. Where is the deal with Japan? I guess he knows something I don't know. I don't know. Maybe they did. Maybe they came out with a deal. I guess they did. I don't know. Where's the deal? What? Also, Fox News is amazing because it is. If you watch Fox News every day as your primary source of news, you literally. It's not that you will know less things. It's that you will know the opposite of the truth. It's fucking crazy. Like, they just straight up tell you the exact opposite of what is going on. Up is down, good is bad, bad is good. Just straightforwardly, it feels like I'm watching news happen in an alternative universe. It's so strange. They just assume whatever is going on is the exact opposite without even reading into it, you know? They're just going along with whatever Trump says and making up shit that Trump isn't even saying.
Has not stopped India, obviously hasn't stopped India. Didn't stop it.
What this non-SJW unsimplified answer to U.S. debt from the international economic perspective in our current harmful capital's global economy? I'm confused as to what your question
Italy,
is.
who feels as though they could spearhead an EU deal. I think it's really encouraging to see things get reconfigured. But I also don't think we should show any weakness with China. This is the moment we stare them down. We have lost a lot of market cap in doing this. Let's make sure we get what we want in this restructuring, and one of which they cannot steal intellectual property. The other thing is they can't continue to hijack and screw up our patents. They steal our products, they rename them, and then they sell them back to us. Yes. Amazon, 2/3 of all their products are China. So now they're now standing up. Now they're worried about their tech center, who they suppressed for so long. Now they're starting to prop up Alibaba. They rehab Jack Ma. So now they're desperate to try to get their economy going. I'd hate to think that in the end, we blinked.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe.
Oh, that's crazy. Hold on, I'm tweeting. American Patriot getting called a traitor for buying equipment direct from the source.
I've been called a traitor.
What the fuck? What is this? Yeah, I said, I'm tweeting, he wanted you to call him. He'd stop at nothing to get that call. He'd collapse global trade in its entirety for one phone call from Xi. Can't say I wouldn't do the same if I was in his shoes. That's right. This is actually a love story. When you think about this as a love story where Trump is in love with Xi Jinping, like Wattpad style, in love with Xi Jinping, and just simply wants that phone call really bad, it unironically makes more sense than whatever the fuck the administration is saying. Like, think about it. Think about how senseless and how stupid this entire endeavor has been, that it literally makes more sense if you think that Donald Trump is actually romantically involved with Xi Jinping and wants Xi Jinping to call him. That completely made up reality at least has a through line, a logical through line associated with it. That is how fucking insane the actual truth of the matter is. Amazing.
I'm turning my back on my country because I decided to get some machines that make my life easier. $44,000 for an American-made ditch witch, or 15 grand for that, and that might be better. Maybe you just need some basic little stuff. $3,700, or the cheapest American one I know of is $38,000. So all you people who keep complaining that I'm a traitor because I bought Chinese equipment, I'm un-American. How could I do that to our people? How could I do that to our country? Why wouldn't I buy American? I can't afford American. I just can't. I've been called a...
$5 says retaliatory tariffs from China got Trump hard. Yeah, it made him hard because it reminded him that Xi does know he exists. It's like when Ethan Klein gets excited when I tweet about him or respond to some other like insane shit that he's said. And he gets like really stoked because he's like, oh, finally, he remembers me. Similar situation. Also a love story. Also an instance where someone is just like burning a lot of their social capital for no particular reason other than to get a call back. He's paying attention to me. Anyway, getting back to Xi Jinping. On U.S.'s potential tariff U-turn, China again tells Trump what is the right way to deal with China.
中方早就指出，关税战、贸易战。
Dude, everyone that's talking about how I need to meet up with Jean-Luc Mélenchon to fight fascism is being stupid. I'm not going to see him when he's here in America. I'm going to see him in France, okay? Next month, when I'm in France, in like 2 weeks, I'm going to link up with him in his own home turf. Calm the fuck down, okay? Yes, I'm going to France. I'm going to link up with Mélenchon. I'm already in contact with their team. And I'm going to link up with him in France. We have said from day one that tariffs and trade wars have no winners. Protectionism leads nowhere. And to decouple is to self-alienate. The tariff war is launched by the U.S. We have made it very clear that China does not look for a war, but neither are we afraid of it. We will fight if fight we must. Our doors are open if the U.S. wants to talk. If a negotiated solution is truly what the U.S. wants, it should stop threatening and blackmailing China and seek dialogue based on equality. Respect and mutual benefit. To keep asking for a deal while exerting extreme pressure is not the right way to deal with China and simply will not work. That's right, chatters. I know Mandarin. If you're listening, if you're audio only right now and you're like, whoa, that white boy, he just translated Mandarin in perfect English. Swag. That's right. I learned Mandarin in my free time. Okay? In the limited amount of time I have when I'm not live. What is this? Blah, yuck, Hassan mods are antisocial incels? No, we're not banning this guy. This guy is awesome. Hi, Hassan. It's incredibly disgusting what you are. No, don't ban him. You're actively doing to Ethan every day. Please consider unlocking empathy like Ian did. P.S. You have an incredibly fragile ego. Wow, you are so obsessed with Ethan. Hassan is Ethan permanently on his brain. He waited. He waited for the activation code. He created an account, followed, waited for the activation code, and he blasted off. I'm going to unban him. I think we need more dissenting voices like this one, okay? By the way, if I were to randomly click on H3H3 podcast right now, there is a 75% chance that I'm either in the title or in the thumbnail or directly being talked about. So the idea that like, oh, Ethan is permanently on my mind is so funny. Like, has there not been a day? Has there been a day where I haven't been brought up randomly? What is this? You said the trigger word and I got activated like the Winter Soldier. You have to see this compilation.
I was saying he doesn't have to watch it now, but like he should watch it today. I feel like he has to. What would it mean if he didn't watch that after watching the entire iDubbbz content cop? I'm just saying, I mean, be like what would his reason be not to watch it? He has to, right? I mean, that would just be too cowardly. It would be too blatantly just cowardly. It's the least he could do. I mean, he owes it to both sides of the argument. Is he reacting yet to my response video?
Notice me, senpai. Notice me.
Did he?
No, of course not.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I mean, they're very, very unlikable to anyone who's outside of their extreme circle. Has Hassan reacted to my response? Has he checked? Do I need to check? Is he still talking about the Pope?
No, we checked. He's not.
Is he talking about the Pope still? Lining himself with denims. Look how he gets all excited. Oh, I'm finally the subject of the conversation.
Here we go.
Finally, somebody's talking and thinking about me. I'm all ears. I was saying he doesn't have to watch it now, but...
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Why won't she call me? Why? Why won't she call me? She call me. Call me on my phone. You got my number, she. Please call me. Why won't you call me? Like, I've nuked global trade for you, she. Notice me. I'm so lonely. I'm so lonely without you. Oh, it's funny. You're sharing the Thumbo and title with Ian on today's stream. Nope, there you go. People coming in here to be like, you're so obsessed. Yeah, okay, dude. Anyway, let's continue. Going back to a not dissimilar issue here.
It's very good. Every country wants to partake, even countries that have ripped us off for many, many years. China is an example, but it's not just China. European Union, they ripped us off for many, many years, and those days are over. We're going to make a lot of money for our people. We'll be able to lower taxes substantially, and we're going to be proud of ourselves. They're not going to be a laughing stock that got taken advantage of by virtually every country in the world.
We thought you said you were going up to launch for a flag. What was going on?
We're putting up a beautiful, almost 100-foot tall American flag on this.
Sick. This is the only, dude, this is so awesome. Straight up like failed state authoritarian dictatorship stuff here. All aesthetics. The only place where he has motion is when he forces Google to change the name of like Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America and like putting a big flag up. Okay. The one thing that we need to complete this is if he does a military parade. Okay. If he starts marching ICBMs down, the streets of Washington or something, which he won't be able to do because the streets will crumble. Obviously, our infrastructure cannot handle tanks and stuff like that. But that's it. That's the remaining thing. We need a military parade. We need to have a military parade that will complete the tin pot dictator nonsense. Okay, which I don't even have issues with. I kind of like parades. You know, they're fun. And I think military parades like is cool. It's like they march and stuff, and they march in unison, and it looks cool. I don't know. And I also do like big statues. So I assume he's gonna do like a military parade and a big statue. Okay, those are the last two things. Those are the last two things you need to have, like a massive, massive statue of himself. Why hasn't he thrown it yet? I thought he wanted to throw one in 2016. He can absolutely do it now. I think he will.
Side and another one on the other side, 2 flags, top of the line, and they've needed flagpoles for 200 years.
Yup, there it is.
Something I've often said, you know.
Yeah. He couldn't get any motion on the global trade panic that he caused. He's going back slowly but surely on every single thing that he's done so far, taking back the tariffs, lowering the universal tariffs, lowering the tariffs on China. China still hasn't called. Hair looking like shit. Feels like he's losing it a little bit. Okay. And regardless of all of that, even though he's doing the one-sided concessions, the FT says Trump is going to exempt car makers from tariffs on auto parts from China. Okay. The exemptions are coming. They're kicking in piece by piece. The only area where he can seemingly make change is when he puts up like a fucking big ass flag. Cool. All right. You're just proving the MAGA communists right, LMFAO. Wait, what? What do you mean proving the MAGA communists right? Yes, Trump is a MAGA communist and not an incompetent capitalist that is actually undermining America standing on the global stage, even though the inherent contradictions within capitalism has caused America's demise, and Donald Trump is trying to manage that decline in an incredibly incompetent way, so only accelerating the demise. No, he is not I don't genuinely believe that Trump is a secret agent of socialism. Trump administration might host a military parade. I'm very looking forward to it. Financial Times says Trump is going to exempt car makers from tariffs on auto parts from China. U.S. President Donald Trump is planning to spare car makers from some of his most onerous tariffs in another trade war climb down following intense lobbying by industry executives over recent weeks. The move would exempt car parts of the tariffs that Trump is imposing on imports from China to counter fentanyl production, as well as those levied on steel and aluminum, a destacking of the duties, according to 2 people with knowledge on the matter. Here's an analog for you. Remember when Republicans were running around saying abortion is murder, and then they actually did the Roe v. Wade thing, and then everyone was like, holy fuck, I have no more autonomy. My daughter is pregnant. She's a teenager. She needs to get an abortion. What the fuck are we doing here? Oh my God, my neighbor died doing an ectopic pregnancy because the doctor was too afraid to fucking perform a medical abortion on her because they didn't want to go to jail. All of a sudden, Republicans basically folded and were like, actually, abortion is murder, but like sometimes murder is good. We like murder, actually. What happened? And now you're seeing the exact same thing happen with the fucking tariffs. I called it out from a mile away. What happened? I want to hear, I wish Asmongold was live right now because I want to hear how he would manage the situation, how he would talk about how this is actually still an incredibly competent administration. I want to know what the Asmongold fans that are in here in the chat right now watching me, what they have to say. You know, I want to know. Yeah, based. I wish. This is not necessarily about Asmongold. This is about unlocking the mindset and understanding the mindset of those who still at this stage think Trump is being super competent, think Trump is doing moves that we simply cannot comprehend. That's what I'm saying here. Where are the fucking hogs? Hogs, chirp up, chime in. I want to know, do you feel duped? Do you feel like maybe, do you feel like you were led to assume that Trump has all of this, Trump has this brilliant technique here that was going to dramatically solve the trade deficits or whatever? Asmongold already said that if Trump concedes from tariffs, he's a loser. Well, I guess he's a fucking loser then, huh? It's not about achieving anything. It's all about aesthetics. I want to hear from right-wingers in general that have been on board with everything that Trump has done so far, everything that Donald Trump has done thus far, right? All of the initiatives he's taken. If you felt like this was a beacon of success a couple of weeks ago, and if you felt like Trump's trade schemes that were hilariously incompetent in broad fucking daylight were actually not incompetent at all. Okay. How do you read the situation now? How do you still justify what Trump is doing here? You know, they're just waiting for him to say the new thing they were thinking all along. Yeah.
don't have a flagpole per se, so we're putting one right where you saw us, and we're putting another one.
Dimple highlighted you on a recent show. Yeah, he put me on the fucking Thumbo as well. He's such a moron. He did the classic thing that every right winger and liberals and leftists do as well, which is like, oh, this person is not joking. He actually is being super sincere with his commentary. I know we went back and forth on this. We went back and forth on this on the timeline. I forgot last night where I dunked on him hard style. Here it is. He said, holy shit, Hassan literally did not know that Abrega Garcia is from El Salvador. Ha ha ha, holy fuck, which is obviously not true. Okay? I was making fun of him for being like, he's not a Maryland man. And I was like, where is he from then? He is from Maryland. He's literally a Maryland man. So I responded to him. I said, Tim Pool thinks if you're born in El Salvador, you can never be considered a man from Maryland, even if you have a wife and kids and a career as a union worker in Maryland. You had hair at some point, but I think it's okay to call you a bald loser now, Tim. He didn't like that. He did not like that one bit. He's still going along with, he didn't know. He didn't know this guy was initially from El Salvador, actually. He didn't know. I promise you, he didn't know. He likes to be called a person with hair formerly. Where is it? Where is the, I think he doubled down. Yeah, he did. Of course he did. Bro didn't know dude was from El Salvador and asked if I was implying he's from DC. Just take the L. I like that. Yeah, dude, I had no idea that he was actually originally from El Salvador. I was shocked when I found that he was getting a withholding of removal to El Salvador. I was like, why is there a withholding of removal to El Salvador for an American-born citizen? Hey, by the way, before Tim Pool's fucking drones clip this, I'm being sarcastic. I know some of you like to behave as though, I have no capacity of engaging in sarcasm or joking, but, that's what this is. What kind of rodent is controlling him, Ratatouille style? I don't know. It was a Russian rodent before, but now it is, I assume, the rat that was in his beanie was initially a Russian one, and he swapped it out for an Israeli one now. Elon left, so comedy is illegal again. Yeah. How could a rodent control him if he has no hair? That's why he has to wear the beanie all the time, chatter. Do you not know? Do you not understand? You literally have videos. You could watch that as proof that you knew. I know, but remember, narrative is more important than the truth. Narrative is more important. His fans are not going to fucking go and see if I've done numerous videos on the subject matter, carefully detailing all of the events and his background. Tim Pool doesn't even fucking read an entire article to completion. What do you mean? His fans are even dumber than he is. His fans are so fucking stupid that they think the dude who dropped out of middle school is actually someone that they should pay close attention to, that they should listen to. Think about how stupid you have to be to get your notes from Tim Pool, a guy who said Trump would win 49 states, a 49-state landslide victory in 2020. That's what Tim Pool said. Tim Pool is a notoriously stupid person, like one of the dumbest guys in the right-wing sphere, which is crazy because that sphere is polluted with incredibly dumb guys.
On the other side, on top of the mounds. It's going to be two beautiful poles. Paid for by Trump. They arrive in about a week or so.
As a former alt-right guy, I only ever saw under a minute of your clips ever, and I still hated you for years. Yeah, well, you're here now, and you've been here for 20 months. So obviously, you had the capacity to change. You at least had a little bit of curiosity at a certain point that made you go, let me go see what the fuck this guy has to say, And many people do this. This is why my haters ironically create a hater to lover pipeline in their own audiences, because when they come in here to search on their own for what the truth is, they end up realizing that, oh, these guys were just fucking lying to me. I watched you for 8 months and still disagree with almost everything you say. Okay. I hated you from the liberal side and it was exactly the same thing. Yeah. Yeah, my haters become waiters at the table of success, and my haters become lovers at the table of learning, I guess.
Can you clarify, Mr. President, on China?
Yeah, we are going to have a fair deal with China. It's going to be fair.
Are you talking to them actively now?
Actively. Everything's active. Everybody wants to be a part of what we're doing. They know that they can't get away with it any longer, but they're still going to do fine. And we're going to have a country that you can be proud of, not a laughing stock all over the world.
Yeah. This move right here, definitely not putting us in laughing stock territory. I'm going to force China to concede on all matters trade related. Also, I'm conceding now, even though she never called me. But we are not a laughing stock of the world. We are actually, everyone is afraid of us.
The world for many years. You know, in 1913, they traded to the income tax system. We used to be all tariff, and we had no income tax, and we had the wealthiest country we've ever had proportionately. From about 1870 to 1913, it was all tariffs, and we had more money than anybody. They had committees how to spend the money. They had so much money they didn't know how to spend. Then some brilliant person said, let's go income tax. Let's let the people pay. Now, we're going to be able to substantially lower taxes when this is finished.
So, Mr. President, how does it look in the meantime? Are you
it looks good.
While you're
It
negotiating?
looks good. We were losing anywhere from $3 to $5 billion a day. Think of it. We're losing billions of dollars a day under Biden and other presidents, frankly. But under Biden, it got really worse. China got out of control. We're losing $1 trillion a year. Trillion, not a billion, not a million, $1 trillion. And now
Tim Pool's fan base now? Oh, yeah. A few days ago, Tim Pool held a members-only live show, and the audience was exactly how you'd expect. When Tim says he's building a culture, this is what he means. This is fucking amazing. I love this. This actually dovetails quite nicely into what I suspect is going to be a sea change. What I suspect is going to be an attitude change, even from the likes of Asmongold, who is the most prominent right-wing figure, both on this platform and perhaps online. Why do I say this? Well, here is why. Here's Peter Hamby. Okay? Trump is, according to the latest Harvard polls, sinking with young men. Trump's job disapproval with young men now at 59%. 40% say they're worse off under Trump versus 29% better off. 47% say Trump will hurt the economy. The trend is bad. In January, 62% approved of Trump on the economy. The tide shift is already here. The vibe shift is already here. Zoomer men are also going to inevitably turn on Donald Trump because Donald Trump seemingly sold them on a lie. They were too young to remember the first Trump administration. They thought that maybe there would be a real change here. Look forward to Asmongold going back to not doing politics, or at least like slanting his centrist agenda in the direction where he is more critical of Trump. Okay? All right. Just wait. Could you elaborate on narrative is more important than the truth? Not necessarily disagreeing or trolling. I'm just scratching chin. As in, if everyone is lying, then the truth is irrelevant. Okay? Like, for example, with Tim Pool and his fan base, Tim Pool here is lying when he says, I've been fooled by deported Maryland man hoax. As in, I don't know that the Maryland man, Kilmar Brega Garcia, is originally from El Salvador. That is just a lie. If Tim Pool actually cared about saying the truth, he would be like, obviously he's joking here, right? He's fibbing. But he doesn't say that. He instead says Hassan is stupid and got fooled. He's lying. Now, it doesn't matter that this is a lie because no one is going to check him on this. No one is going to turn around and say, hey, Hassan is evil, like truly evil, no joke, backstabs his own friends, lies, even when he clearly knows the truth and glorifies terrorists, calls them heroes, and even interviewed one of them and called him Luffy as to say he was a hero, despicable. No one has ever accused Hassan Piker of being smart. He's from El Salvador, not Maryland. I'm so sick of the lies. So, gotta say, Hassan wasn't fooled. He's just outright lying. It's not ignorance, it's malice. Cope Hassan, you are a Muppet boy. For these people, the feeling that I'm a dum-dum who got duped makes them feel good. And they care about that more than they care about whether or not I actually know where, what the background of Kilmar Abrego Garcia actually is. Do you understand? Is he still avoiding talking about India? Are you talking about me or are you talking about Tim Pool? do I have a lot of Indian Hasanabi heads in here that are just like constantly demanding I talk about India? What's going on? For the past 2 days, everyone, I think there was like a terror attack in Kashmir or something, and I haven't looked into it. And people are just like, dude, why aren't you talking about this? Why aren't you talking about this? Like, because I don't know enough. I don't know enough about what happened. I have no idea. What do you want me to do? Fucking talk about shit that I don't know? What is going on? It's confusing to me. And I don't know what the reason is why people are like, oh, he's avoiding talking about it. Did JD Vance do it again? Is that what happened? He was in India recently. I don't know if he was there while it was going on. The fucking Antichrist, dude. Death and destruction befalls any land that is visited by the servant of the Antichrist, J.D. Vance, one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Are you not familiar with Kashmir in general or just on the attack? No, I'm familiar with Kashmir. I'm just not familiar with this this instance. It's because they're mad you won't cover it and they think saying you're avoiding it will get you to cover it. Yeah, I mean, there are a million stories that I don't end up getting to every single day.
That was briefed to some of the press late last night is tentative.
Yeah, we're moving on to war, more war, this time in Ukraine. Details emerge on the reported U.S. peace proposal. The United States is making a take it or leave it final offer style scheme here. And let's take a look.
It is unconfirmed. It's only what's been briefed out to some of the press. And undoubtedly, it will be subject to quite a lot of pressures on all sides. But as far as we can tell, this is what's being said, that within the whole battlefield, there'll be a freezing, more or less, where the front lines now are. So the famous front line that we've got used to, this big semicircle, will more or less freeze. And that means that the Russians would have to give up the ambition to have the whole of the 4 areas that they took, Luhansk, Donetsk, Zaporizhia and Kherson. In September 2022, they annexed them all. They just declared that they were all Russian, even though they only then had 2/3 of them. And they still don't have more than about 4/5 of them. And indeed, in Kherson, they took the whole of Kherson itself originally and then were kicked out of there in the autumn of 2022. So the Russians would have to accept that they're not going to get, under these proposals, everything that they claimed. The Ukrainians would have to accept that the whole of Crimea that was taken in 2014 in the first Russian invasion would be de jure given to Russia, that the Russians would be recognized as having control of Crimea. Now, that's something that the Americans may say will give you formal control.
Ukraine is getting fucked here, right? Oh, 100%. Yeah. Like, look, there were numerous exit ramps here where Ukraine had significantly more leverage, whether it be trying to manage the situation by abiding by the Minsk agreements. Some will say Russia played a role in the violation of the Minsk agreements as well, and there is truth to this. Okay, that is the best path forward, right? No conflict, conceding to Russian demands that DPR and LPR are still within Ukrainian territory, but at least have a semblance of autonomy. Okay. And then the other exit ramp, obviously, was the Antalya 15-point plan that Zelensky was on board with initially. De jure means officially. De facto means not officially, not legally, but functionally. De jure means official recognition. And in this process, they had significantly more leverage when they had been able to successfully push back Russian forces from Kiev. They had a lot more leverage, and Russia controlled a lot less territory at this point. That would have been another exit ramp, and I said over and over again at that time, like, this is the opportunity, this is great, they should take it. And everyone said, you can't do appeasement, you're fucking, you love Adolf Hitler. And in that process, almost 100,000 plus fucking troops were wounded so severely or killed that, there was no more battle to be fought. And I said this recently as well when Trump came into office and said he's going to end this process, that there's only 2 ways out of this. You either continue the war, Ukraine continues the war, and now you have to make up the ranks, because there are still plenty of Ukrainian men that are evading the authorities and trying not to get forcibly conscripted. and you have a shit ton of Ukrainian men that are eligible for the draft that are in the Western world right now, that have temporary protected status, that are refugees. Either you literally forcibly put every Ukrainian man that lives in the United States of America, that lives in Poland, that lives in the rest of Europe on a plane and ship them to Ukraine, and then the Ukrainian government by force drafts them into war, into defending Ukrainian territory, or you don't have enough men to fill the ranks and to continue mounting a defense or even push back the Russian forces from the territory that they've acquired and hardened their positions in. So that's the issue. If they don't do this, if Western powers don't forcibly send back Ukrainian men to fill the ranks of the Ukrainian defense forces, then, and that is already a complicated process in and of itself, it's an inhumane process in and of itself, okay? If they don't do that, then they have to make territorial concessions. So when Trump says, Ukraine, you don't have any of the cards, they're not wrong. Because if Ukraine still had a reasonable number of men that could continue pushing Russian forces militarily out of their ranks, out of their territory, then Trump would continue arming Ukraine. Obviously, Donald Trump, on top of that, has a soft spot for Vladimir Putin. That much is clear. That's not, that certainly plays some role here in the way that he's communicated the crisis in front of us. But ultimately, yeah, he hates Zelensky. He doesn't like Ukraine. He thinks Ukraine is lib shit, and he likes Vladimir Putin. That's for sure. Okay. So all of that definitely plays a role in the way that he's talking about Ukraine and Russia, which has been insane in and of itself. But obviously beyond that, they are in a bind. Like Ukraine is stuck. They simply do not have enough manpower. They do not have enough members in the armed forces at this point. So what do? There's another option. A third option is to lower the age of conscription and then effectively destroy the next generation. And by force, start bringing in 18-year-olds into the armed forces. That would be terrifying, and it would completely destroy Ukraine's future. What remains of Ukraine? There's also the other scary part of the story, which is, what if Russia recovers and then rearms, re-ups, and then invades further? That is also a very real fear for Ukrainians. Fuck is this Russian propaganda ass dog shit? What? Russia is losing hundreds of vehicles a week. Shit ain't finna go down on God. I'm non-military German, about to go over there. Doesn't Ukraine have 1 million soldiers? They got 1 million. What are you talking about? Fuck this Russian propaganda ass dog shit. You look like a dog / monkey. Okay. I never knew that Germans were saying, I'm finna go there. German kid who says, I'm finna go there. It's finna go down, dog. Shit ain't finna go down on God. I feel like this guy's not German. Like, I'm in my mind, I'm imagining him doing this in a German accent. Russia is losing the hundreds of vehicles per week. Shit ain't finna go down on God. I'm non-military German, about to go over there. Doesn't Ukraine have some 1 million soldiers? They got 1 million. What are you talking about? Fuck is this Russian propaganda as dog shit? Scheiße. Hassan, you fucking L. I'm finna go down there and smoke on the Russian orcs, yeah? At no point did I say that this has not been costly for Russia. Of course it has been. What do you mean? They are a larger country and therefore have more troops to expend. That's it. They're a larger country and they have enough industrial output to continue building the necessary tools and munitions to continue pummeling Ukraine. That's it. Bro fled Kosovo to LARP of dying in the grayest bog in the universe. Yeah. Yeah, kids as young as 10 in Ukraine are getting combat ready in secret military style boot camps to prepare them for should the war with Russia drag on for years. Like, war libs make me viscerally angry. Like, I understand why people are fucking terrified of Russian incursion, because like they are an unreasonable force. They are an unreasonable fucking force. Okay? I get it. I get why you're like, yeah, Russia is just gonna rearm, re-up, and then go again. But you have to you have to give peace a chance. There's no other option here. There's no other alternative here. It's the same fucking thing that I said about initially what I said about the Palestinian emancipatory movement, where I literally said like ceasefire is good. Ceasefire is good. That allows aid to come in. Ceasefire is a good thing because people get food in the process. People get shelter in the process. People get a brief moment of respite from being bombed unnecessarily in the process. Quick aside, E said he's ready to talk to Sam Cedar and do a call with you. No need to watch the context puke, but he thinks you're going to dodge him, Lamau. Wait, what? Why? Why would I dodge him? I've been saying I want to talk to him from the jump. What happened? How did he develop the balls to finally do it? Israel stopped aid, but still true? No, I know. I know that. I know that. Yeah, I believe it when I see it, dude. That'd be, I guess is here. It's finally here. He's run out of content, so he's willing to pull the trigger. There's an influx of chatter saying he wants to talk right now. I don't know if it's true. If you do talk to him, he has to never talk about you again. No, I don't even need to. I don't even need to offer conditions like that. I'm sorry, I don't understand. I get that it sucks children are being prepared for war, but then they try to peace, but peace is just fucking over Ukraine for a few years of semi-peace. I don't know much about their past, though. Hey, Hasanabi, just want to say I found you from the recent vid from Mr. iDubbbz and wanted to say I really appreciate the work you do, especially for advocating, highlighting the current genocide being committed by Israel. I don't agree with some of your viewpoints, but I think the work you've done advocating for human rights is exemplary. Thank you. I try my best, chatter. Thank you for watching. I think if you... Honest question, haven't been following you for long enough. Why don't people talk about taking out Putin more? Isn't this his personal project? Wouldn't ending Putin bring the most peace? I mean, that's also a complicated equation because like Putin has calcified his power that in the in a post-Putin universe, I don't know what happens to Russia. There's a lot of destabilization that would happen in the process. Are you beefing with Sam Cedar? No, I love Sam. What the fuck? But also, the reason why people don't talk about assassinating Putin is, first of all, they do talk about assassinating Putin. That's not true. This is a common trope. I'm sure even Russians, like Russian dissidents, probably also fantasize about the day that he will inevitably die. But I know this from my own personal experience growing up in Turkey. This is a common trope. Ethan wants to debate. How will you get out of this one, coward? Wait, what? I'm down. What the fuck? I'm super down. Hello? Putin is popular in Russia? Yes, there is. Putin is also popular in Russia, but he's, there's plenty of dissidents. It's like saying Erdogan is popular in Turkey. Oh, cool. Never mind then. Wait, what? He wants to talk right now? Is there any worry the potential the CIA would do false flag operations to keep the conflict going? I don't know. It seems like Donald Trump wants to pack it up and in a way that favors. React to Ethan's response, you coward. Watch Ethan's response to the content cop, you coward. Wait, what? Another person that suspiciously left or didn't say anything after October 7th and only came back recently to say, watch Ethan's response to the content cop, you coward. I've been saying I would entertain a conversation with him since the context puke. If he's down to do it right now, I'm down to do it right now. If he's actually down to do it right now, I'll do it. I don't think you should give him the time of day, but it'll be entertaining. Oh, 100%. Trust me, even though Putin is popular in Russia, there are a lot of people who quietly or not wish the thing to happen. Yeah, no, I know. I know that. You want to know why I know that? Because that's how it is in Turkey too. Erdogan has, throughout his career, experienced the 50 plus, 51 plus in his coalition, that means that there are a lot of people who are fans of him, and there are still a lot of people who are major fans of Erdogan. That doesn't mean that he doesn't have a decent amount of haters as well. No, it's a trap. He's got all of your ops on the line. Yeah, if he has Sam Cedar ready to debate you for him, wait, what? That'd be awesome. I can't have the D-man bait and switch because I would get banned off Twitch if he did that, for the record. Like, if he were to pull a Sam Cedar, oh my God, what a fucking nightmare with Destiny. One, I think that would make his remaining audience look at him differently, considering that he, put Sex Pestiny up there. And secondly, I wouldn't be able to do that debate, at least as long as I'm live on Twitch, because I would get banned. Maybe he could do it with Boner Box, though. That'd be funny. Did he actually think that I would fucking dodge this? Like, why does he think I would dodge this? Of course I would. It was pretty cowardly, to be fair. Wait, what? What was pretty cowardly? I've been saying you said Ethan wants to debate. How will you get out of this one, coward? That's what I've been saying. I think his fan base is just like, they've lost their minds a little bit. Wasn't it your idea to have a debate instead of watching Context Puke? Yeah, exactly. Fan base is Delulu at the moment. Yeah, I'm so confused by this. This is a very confusing thing because, like, even on accident, you might have heard me saying, like, I'm down to fucking talk anytime, any place, big dog. It's like when we watch Fox News and they're living in fucking opposite world. Ethan just said you have talked about him for 320 hours before Ian's video, and he has only talked about you for an hour. Okay, I think you guys are baiting. There's 0% chance that that sounds so insane. That is literally the most delusional thing. He said 20 hours in the past month, but yeah, it was cowardly not to watch a nuke. Chatter, you seem to be somewhat reasonable because you said, oh, cool, never mind then. Would you be shocked to find out if I were to tell you that every single thing that Ethan put in the Context Puke, I had addressed, I believe, like a month or so prior? Like every single thing in a YouTube video with sitting at like 500,000 or 600,000 views at this point on my YouTube channel. Would that actually shock you? Because you think I've never addressed any of these things, right? And I understand why you think that if you have not actually come in here in the past couple of months to see if there's any veracity to these claims at all. It was cowardly for you not to watch a nuke and just debunk him on the spot. Just stop deflecting. See, this is what I mean. Because I said I would even watch the Context nuke with him. I don't know why Ethan's... So then it should be easy to react to it? Yeah, of course. It is super easy to react to it. If you think that I'm afraid of fucking Ethan Klein's political prowess, you have to genuinely be delusional. At the time, it was right around the Trump inauguration, so I was a little bit busy with that stuff, obviously, with the collapse of America. But I said that I would be willing to entertain a debate, or even after he heard me say that, he turned around and added an additional qualifier that I had to watch the Context nuke, to which I responded with, I'll watch it with you. Now, you might be wondering why I said that. Does that seem like something a cowardly person who is afraid of addressing the Context Puke would say? Or do you think there's a reason for why I would watch it with him? The reason for why I would watch it with him is because I don't think he's behaving in good faith. Also, the harassment campaign was a bad look for you and your whole crowd. What harassment campaign? Ethan Klein has been doing a harassment campaign for months before I even uttered his name on my broadcast. I used to be a fan of streamers and Fear and I just think Ethan made good points and was disappointed to see you not address it, but I have addressed it. I have addressed it even before the nuke came out. You must ask yourself how I was able to address the things that he brought forward in his YouTube video months before the YouTube video came out. I don't think I'm entertaining this as though you're not behaving in bad faith with the hopes that you will understand. But I think you're just very, very, very invested. H3 has only been reacting, not been going on the offensive. That's also not true. He absolutely, for months, tried to actively deplatform me and other pro-Palestinian content creators. That is not correct. Respond to what I have to say. How was I able to put forth a YouTube video months before the Context nuke that addressed the entirety of the Context nuke and the issues being brought up in the Context nuke? How was I able to do that? Is it because I know how to see the future? Is that what you think happened? Or is it because the sourcing of the context nuke was coming from a particular community that had already brought forward these issues with out of context clips? How was I able to pre-watch it? Can't argue with people this parasocial. They don't care about politics or the truth. This is Xbox versus PlayStation to them. Yeah. Why were you platforming terrorists and portraying them positively? Once again, if you would like the answers to these questions, I've answered them a million times over on numerous videos, but especially the video that I'm talking about here. I'm going to pull it for you. I'm going to help you out. Does any chatter have it ready to go on my YouTube page? I can't remember where it was. Hold on. God damn, I post a lot of fucking YouTube videos. Holy shit. I'll help you with this, okay? These people don't care. They just want drama, man. Oh yeah, this is the one. No. Now this was on October 25th, 2024. October 25th, 2024. With 545,000 views. How was I able to address all of the grievances in the context puke? How was I able to do that before it ever came out? If you actually want to know what my position is on any number of different things, if you are genuinely, if you're an honest person if you're an honest person who actually wants to know, okay, if you're an honest person who actually wants to know my answers to all of the issues that were brought up in the context puke, here it is. I'm going to spam it again and again and again. I will admit I do try to bring attention to the shit he's saying, but I'm more obsessed with truth and hate drama. Sure, I'll check out this video. Okay, there you go. What's the deal with the swastika sword? I saw clips of you saying you don't even like Bleach, calling it the swastika one yourself. Yes, I purchased it at the Anime Expo. It is a cool fucking longsword. That's it. I read the manga, but that's, you know, many, many years ago when I was reading Naruto as well. I never watched the Bleach anime, but none of that fucking matters. Do you think that I actually, I don't know, purchased this on purpose because I knew that what's cool about swastikas? It's not a swastika, you fucking dingus. What are you talking about? It's not actually a swastika. This is such a stupid conversation. I'm not trying to be bad faith. I used to be a fan, so I feel like Ethan has been wrong the whole time. I'll go back to watching the pod. Brother, he's probably going over another slop vid that he put out smearing you, which is why all these guys are popping up. Move on. The only reason why I'm talking about it is because he said he wanted to fucking debate me, which I thought he actually did. And I'm totally down to do that. I will show you this. Apparently, here, I'm going to show you one thing, okay? This chatter. You know, you have to know people would think it's a swastika, though. So why use that when jabbing at Ethan? What's cool about swastikas? Nothing is cool about swastikas. And people would think it's a swastika. Dude, no, only a desperate person would try to fucking imply that myself and iDubbbz are actually crypto Nazis, and that's the reason why he chose that, and not because it was there, because I had done a fucking ad for Assassin's Creed a week prior, so the sword was laying around, and in the ad I fucking used the Bleach sword, which if you actually cared about the truth, at all, you would recognize that it was literally on my fucking desk because I had previously used it while doing an Assassin's Creed ad. Do you think I was doing that? I was using the sword then because I was doing a crypto Nazi thing secretly as well at that point? Or because it was just a readily available sword? Here, this, I don't even know who this fucking guy is, but he showed up on my timeline. Yeah. This was a post I saw on my fucking timeline. Just wondering if this was a dog whistle too. Playing Assassin's Creed Shadows once more. Get it now for gaming. Hashtag ad. Buy it here. Oh, look at that. It's the same sword. Any of these people calling for a boycott of Bleach because of Nazi ties? Nah, they just all about you. Is getting you to play defense not the point of them saying this wild shit? No, that's what it is. But, I mean, the stupidity is so fucking ridiculous that it's like, it's not something that I thought was worth even addressing. It is literally the Bleach sword. That's it. The hilt of it is a manji. It's not a fucking swastika. It's not even a full-blown manji either. It's like a hilt. As a former deorbiter who dislikes E, lol. Oh, he's not said he wants to debate. He's literally dissecting the Bleach sword, claiming it's a swastika right now. So yeah, I know. Yes, it's Ichigo's sword. Anyway, I can't believe I've even took a sidestep here to address this. It's such a fucking dumb claim. The argument works on Pepega Chatters because when Ethan says you never watched the anime, he's insinuating you saw a swastika and uncontrollably rushed to purchase it. And he never mentions you read the manga because it kills his whole insinuation. He also doesn't mention that I've used this before as a prop, including on a fucking ad. Huh? So, like, why would I do that? Why would I do that if I was like secretly going, ooh, it's a swastika? That makes no fucking sense. It's because the argument is idiotic. It's the argument of a desperate man. Okay? Anyway, watch the video and then come back to me. And I think if you are actually a good faith chatter, you will understand that a lot of this stuff is whole cloth made up by Ethan, and it's just you're entertaining the mania of a person who's fucking falling apart in real time that virtually everyone else online can recognize and see, but your fandom is causing you to turn a blind eye to the unhealthy habits of a increasingly unwell dude. The very fact that all of the people that Ethan has at a certain point duked it out with, from Quarter Pounder to Keemstar to all these fucking evil villains, like to actually bad people online. The very fact that all of those guys are now on his side should have at least caused you to go, you know, maybe we're not on the right side of this. But no. So if you can't see that, I don't think you'll be able to get yourself out of this weird stupor you found yourself in. Ethan Klein became the lolcow that he used to make fun of. And he did it on his own. I didn't even fucking push him to become this person. I tried to urge him away from becoming this person. Dangerous levels of narcissism. Yes, I do have salt shakers on the desk. Chatters were lying, by the way. He said he didn't want to talk right now. He said he'll talk to Sam first, and then with you without conditions. He caved. Date hasn't been set. I assume he'd coordinated with you. Oh my God. I'm feeling like Xi Jinping right now. All right, let's continue. Let's continue with the actual story. It's so funny that he's hitting like the chatter hit like every talking point.
Yes, Annette. Yes, please come over. Would you like to have some comments to make? I know you're a former Charlotte Mecklenburg school teacher. I'm in North Carolina.
Hold on, I gotta get my sauces.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here. This has been an 8-year journey for me to raise awareness to the violence that's in public schools and the critical need to address violence in public schools. Again, been doing it 8 years because most administrations like to keep the violence hidden. We have 3 students that should be here with us today. We have Austin McCalf, I'm sorry if I say his name wrong, Serenity Baker, and Nizir Taylor from Charlotte, North Carolina, who was shot in the back as he was getting off of a school bus because they thought he was a part of a big brawl that happened inside a public high school. So this is very important and critical legislation that we have to keep our educators safe, we have to keep our students safe, and public schools have to be safe environments. So I think, like I said, I've done this journey alone, I've been on it, but I have a whole team behind me now. I spoke at the RNC, and I told millions that Donald Trump and his administration was going to make schools great again, and I feel that we're on the right path, and I'm just honored to be here.
Thank you.
Hell yeah.
Our great vets that are with us, and is it okay if I give her one? What do you think?
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. What an honor.
Great job. Could I ask Sarah to speak, Gerardo?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about these great gentlemen.
These heroes, Mr. President, are extraordinary. This is my husband, Michael, and so many of our dear, dear friends who are here today. Many of them have met you, sir, in your first administration in the hospital, many times at Walter Reed.
Right.
And they've had long recoveries. Tomorrow, for my husband, marks 15 years since he was wounded in Afghanistan. Wow. And on that day, about 6 years ago, he had his 120th surgery post-Afghanistan.
Oh, wow.
And you came to see him at Walter Reed, and so many others. And we saw great reform in the VA. Access, same-day access to prosthetics, mental health care, and we know that that is back. We're going to, these gentlemen were saying, Alex here earlier was saying, in the last few years when he's gone to get a wheelchair, the VA has asked him, this gentleman, they've asked him to prove that he still has his injuries, as though maybe his limbs would grow back. And Unfortunately did not, yes. And we've seen that many times. And so we're excited for you bringing back the VA Accountability, Mission Act, Community Care, that were the hallmark of your first term. And we're so excited, sir, to be here. We're honored to be here. And thank you for all you do for our nation's heroes.
Thank you. Who's that picture on there?
That is Joe Biden, and it says, "Let's go, Brandon."
What was that picture?
I told him he wasn't allowed to ask you to sign it.
Well, thank you all very much. Would you like to say anything, fellas? A lot of good people watching.
Those veterans better not exhibit anti-Christian bias. If they do, I'll take away their prosthetics.
And it's an administration that says.
That's another thing that they're doing in the VA, by the way.
We're behind you. We believe in you, and I think we all love you. We're gonna speak for everybody.
Thank you very much. And I'm going to get you a better hat. Say it, better hat. That's a good one. That was the original.
It was.
That means he was there.
I've been wearing it before it was cool.
That's right. That's an early one. We'll save that one though, right?
Yes, Mr. President.
Thank you. Anybody, please?
I'd like to say.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. I was just going to say thank you for loving America, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Very nice. Thank you very much. True.
Linda McMahon standing right there. It's WrestleMania time.
And of course, he goes immediately to say thank you, as he was the one that saved Michael Gerardo, put him in the helicopter, and got him off the combat zone.
Wow.
So selflessness of these men is unspeakable.
That's great to you.
Yeah, he's alive because of that man right here.
These are amazing people, great heroes. So that's really great. Anybody else?
I'd like to say it was an honor to serve. You were worth it. This country's worth it. It's because of what Christ paid for.
Thank you. And we have a spirit that people haven't seen.
Come on,
in
get to
many
the
years.
answers, man. Get to the question-answer session. We don't want to hear this shit.
I think even then, because we've been through so much for the last 4 years together, it was so bad. It was so bad what they've done to the borders, what they've done all over the place.
Yeah.
And,
Speaking in a room full of like veterans with severe war injuries, I'm the one who's the victim. I've been victimized so bad.
the black, but I think you like this one. It's okay. A lot of soldiers like the black. Here you go. What do you like?
I'm the biggest victim here.
See, I told you.
Proverbially, my legs were blown out.
Okay, look at this. Rarely happens. Oh, that's great.
Call it the military.
No, but isn't it? I always say the soldiers. I'm giving him 2. Okay.
I just got here. What's happening? I have no idea. We're just waiting for him to respond to the newscasters in the room.
Gold one, sir.
Okay, you got it.
I had an opportunity to sail across the Gulf of America 2 days after you named it right.
Oh, wow. It's been an honor. And now people say it routinely.
Yep.
They don't even think about the other. They say it routinely. That's been a great honor for me.
Take a gold one.
Okay. Almost even. I think gold is an edge.
I would love a gold one, sir. Thank you so much.
The gold, it picked up at the end, right? So you're all okay? That's good. So I want to thank you very much, and especially that's a great story. Yeah? So what do you think of a guy like that? Pretty good.
They actually we all served together.
Wow.
And Jared over there.
So you guys got hit, huh? Pretty good.
Oh.
You got hit.
Pretty good.
Amazing.
We're in a pretty tough area in Arkansas River Valley.
Right, it's
outside
tough.
Kandahar.
Their unit had a more than 50% Purple Heart rate, sir, in 2010.
You deserve it. You
Wait,
deserve
what?
that and more. We appreciate it so much. Brave, really brave, brilliant people. Thank you very much. Do you have any questions of the guys here?
I want to say thank you to the veterans who are here. Thank you so much for defending us. And then I wanted to ask you, Mr. President, because you said you want to bring the tariffs on China down soon. How soon do you want to bring?
Yeah, nobody cares about the veterans. They're like, come on, get to the actual issues,
We have
please.
a situation where we have a very, very great place. It's called the United States of America, and it's been ripped off for years and years. These people know it. We talked about it before you came in. We've been ripped off by every country in the world practically, and friend and foe. And we're not doing that anymore. So what's happened is Howard, how many countries have we spoken to already? 90. And they all want to make deals, and we're going to make deals, but they're going to be fair deals. They're not going to be rip-off deals. And, you know, we were losing almost $5 billion a year. No country can do that. And now we have it down almost to even, maybe even better than even, because of the tariffs on cars and aluminum and steel. We have tariffs 25% on cars, aluminum and steel.
They
There's a
even got
rush
the
to build new
penguins
steel
calling.
plants, a rush to build new aluminum plants, and a biggest rush I've ever seen, that we've ever seen, to build car plants. We have like 11 of them or something, big ones, where you guys maybe work. Maybe you won't want to work, you'll do something else instead of that. But if you like cars, you'd like to work at one of these plants, the biggest plants in the world. 3 of them have left Mexico before construction started, 1 of them during construction. And they're coming to this country, they're coming back, don't forget. And we get along great with Mexico, but Mexico took 32% of our car building business. So it's amazing what's happened. Remember this number, anywhere from $3 to $5 billion a day. That's not $1 million, that's $1 billion a day. Nobody can even imagine it. And that's what we were losing. And, you know, hence we have $36 trillion in debt and everything else. And in the end, I think what's going to happen is we're going to have great deals. And by the way, if we don't have a deal with a company or a country, we're going to set the tariff. We just set the tariff. It's something that we think that will happen, I'd say, over the next couple of weeks. What do you say? I think so. Over the next 2-3 weeks. We'll be setting the number.
For
and
China.
we're going to pick, could be for China too, could be for China. Well, we're dealing with almost all of them. Too many to fully deal with, but we're going to be fair to them. But we're dealing with a lot of countries right now, and could be with China, but maybe we'll make a special, you know, a deal, and we'll see what it will be. Right now, it's 145%. That's very high. It got there because of the fentanyl. They're sending, you know, massive amounts of fentanyl.
To the chatter asking, are you waiting for a response for Poopy to hit you up first? Did you hit him up and waiting for a response? No, he baited all you drama-loving dumbasses to go and click on his stream and watch him by saying that he would debate me. And then a bunch of his fucking fans came in to make it seem like he was interested in talking right now. He's just farming. He's not. He is, I'm fairly certain he will not talk to me.
But breaking even, let's say, but we're going to make a lot of money. And that money is going to be used to reduce taxes. We're going to get big, big tax breaks. We're going to, you know, there was a time, I said it this morning, I think some of you were there, there was a time from 1870 to 1913, it was a long time ago, we were an all-tariff nation. Foreign nations pay taxes. They paid money to us in the form of tariffs. And that was when we were the wealthiest. We were the wealthiest proportionately that we ever were. And they formed committees in 1887 in particular, but they formed committees to determine what we should do with all the money. We had so much money, you guys would have loved it. We had so much money, they didn't know what to do with it. We gave it away to different causes, and you haven't seen that too much anymore, although we give plenty away, but now we shouldn't be giving it away. We have to take care of ourselves first, right? Absolutely. But we were very wealthy, and proportionately the wealthiest we ever were. We built the Panama Canal. Jimmy Carter gave that away for $1, by the way. One of the most profitable things ever built, the Panama Canal. We gave it away for $1 to Panama. Why? I don't know. Nobody knows, but that's what we had. We had people like that sitting behind this desk, and that shouldn't have happened. Panama Canal, we spent, it was the most expensive thing ever built by our country in history. I'm talking relative dollars. We've never built anything so expensive. I think it was the equivalent of $1.7 billion. And we've never built anything like that. We built a lot of things, but never so expensive. Then we started building other things. We had a lot of money to do it, all based on foreign countries coming in and paying us tariffs. And we're doing that again, and I think we're going to make so much that we're going to be able to reduce taxes in this country by a lot. And we're also going to treat those countries very fairly. But if we don't make a deal, which is possible, we're going to just set the price. Because you remember, they have to come in, they want to come in here, and they want to do business with the United States. So we want to set a fair price, and we'll do that. We're going to be very fair, but we'll set a fair price, and then they can make a determination as to whether or not they want to do business with the United States. And I think most of them will, and I think we're going to treat them very fairly.
Were you worried about what the 145% tariffs were doing to small businesses here in the U.S.? Is that why you're bringing it down?
No, I haven't brought it down. I haven't brought it. Still 145. I haven't brought it down. I said it's a high tariff. It is a high tariff, but I haven't brought it down. It basically means China's not doing any business with us, essentially, because it's a very high number. So when you add that to the price of a product, it's, you know, lot of those products aren't going to sell. But China's not doing any business. They were doing.
Adam Friedland keeps calling me. Yo, what's up? I'm live. I'm eating.
How are you?
I'm good. What's up? What's going on?
Okay, it's Friday.
Yeah, huh?
Friday, finally. It's happening.
Okay. What's happening?
Your episode is coming
Oh
up.
wow. Okay, it's finally it's finally happening.
It's here, Hassan.
I'm overjoyed. Thank you.
And I just want to thank you for your friendship and the solidarity that you've shown me throughout this entire crazy period of my life.
Okay. The answer is yes. I will hide you.
You will hide me from who?
You don't know the Sheryl Sandberg thing?
Oh yeah, from the. Will you hide me from the 110-pound girls at Columbia?
Yeah, I will hide you. I will hide you from the queer English majors.
Because I've been living in fear. New York City is like Mad Max, my friend.
Yeah,
it's a wasteland.
It's the scariest place to be a Jew in all around the world. The scariest place to be a Jew is the Upper East Side of Manhattan.
Oh no, we're on the other side. We're on the Upper West Side.
Oh, even scarier.
Yo, it's terrifying.
They call it the West Bank, New York.
That's what. Well, actually, I call Alaska the Upper West Side. That's just a joke of mine that I do.
Yeah.
That's just a joke. That's just a joke that I do. Hey,
I've heard. Wait, yeah, I heard.
On the show, bro. I'm not. Well, I know we're on stream, but I'm not gonna say it. But I'm gonna send you. I'm gonna send you a clip of it. I recorded it yesterday. But we've been like stacking episodes. We're gonna relaunch next month. So
okay.
You're gonna love it. You're gonna love who this is, Hassan.
Okay, hell yeah.
You know what? You should just react to it on stream. Just maybe do a little viral marketing to excite people.
Okay.
For this,
is it Ethan Klein?
No. This guy is even more potent. He's really gonna take your job. This guy.
Okay, hell yeah. All right, well, I gotta go.
Okay.
Right.
Shout out to chat.
They're listening.
Oh yeah. Okay. So Friday, we're gonna release it at 6 p.m. Eastern. The Hassan Piquer Lost episode.
Okay. Hell yeah.
Okay. Thank you, my friend.
All right. Have a good one. Bye.
Okay. Bye.
All right. That was Adam Friedland of the Adam Friedland Show, formerly of Cumtown.
They're going to be taken really well care of. It's very important to me.
And on the war in Ukraine, are you going to be meeting with President Zelensky? He's asked to meet with you this weekend. Will you be meeting with him this weekend?
I don't know that he's going to the funeral or not, but I just hope he gets this thing solved, because we're losing about, think of this, 5,000. I was saying 2,500, and everyone was telling me that's low. 5,000 soldiers are being killed every week, approximately. Think of that. Every week, 5,000 soldiers. But let's say from 3,000 to 5,000 are being killed. They're Russian and Ukrainian. They're not Americans, but they're Russian, but they're people. And they're humans. They're human beings. They have families. They wave goodbye to their son, and then they get a call that the son's no longer there. It's a vicious war. And if I can help solve it, we're not losing our soldiers, but we're losing soldiers, a lot of people. And if I can solve it because of a certain ability, that would be great. And if it doesn't happen, I will say that I think Russia is ready, and a lot of people said Russia wanted to go for the whole thing, and I think we have a deal with Russia. We have to get a deal with Zelensky, and I hope that Zelensky, I thought it might be easier to deal with Zelensky. So far it's been harder, but that's okay. It's all right.
Zelensky's the one who's fucking up the deal.
I think we have a deal with both. I hope they do it, because I'm looking to save, and we spend a lot of money, but this is about a lot of humanity. This is the worst. I get the pictures, the satellite pictures. I've never seen anything like it of the fields after some of these battles. It's horrible that it's going for nothing. We would have never had this problem. You would have never had that war if I were president. I guarantee you that. And for 4 years you didn't have it.
Are you
I will be meeting
in
with
Saudi Arabia?
It's possible, but most likely not. I think we'll meet with them shortly thereafter.
What is this wake-up going to present to the
Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell, during the Biden administration in the campaign, with inflation raging, he lowered interest rates 2 times. Now, with 2 consecutive months of inflation being down, all economic theory you learn in the 8th grade says it's time to cut rates when inflation is down. He's not done that. Have you had any direct conversation with him?
No, I haven't,
about
I haven't
being able
called
to?
him. I might call him. I haven't called him, but I believe he's making a mistake by not lowering interest rates. And I think as well as we're doing, we'd do much better. He's keeping rates too high. He historically has been late, except when it came to Biden. He was recommended by a certain person that I'm not particularly happy with.
You appointed him!
He will hopefully do the right thing. The right thing is to lower interest rates, so we'll see what happens. I think we're sitting on something that's going to be very good with all the tariff money starting to come
You
in.
put him there, bro.
Our country's going to be doing really well, and hopefully he'll be doing. We don't have inflation. Groceries are down. When I first came in, you people were there. They hit me with the first day that I was president. Somebody started screaming at me that eggs are up. I said, I just got here. And in the first week, they were going crazy. You remember that, Linda? Yes. They were going crazy. They're saying egg prices are too. I said, I'm here for 1 week. Just leave me alone. This is the fake news media. And I said, you know, what can I tell you? But Brooke Rollins, our Secretary of Agriculture, and a group working with her have done an amazing job. And egg prices have gone down 87%. Energy now is down $65 a barrel. They have some energy selling gasoline for less than $2 in a couple of states. Alabama, a couple of great states, but all over the country, it's way down from what it was 6 months ago, 3 months ago. And that has a lot to do with the war. You know, when Biden allowed energy to skyrocket, it just skyrocketed. It was out of control. Russia made a lot more money because they make their money on energy. And I kept saying, you know, he supposedly wants to end the war, but he lets energy go out of control. Well, I've gotten it. We are drilling like crazy right now, and we have it down to $65 a barrel. It went up to almost $100 a barrel. And at that number, Putin and Russia made a lot of money. So I think one of the reasons, look, I think he has a certain respect for me. But one of the big reasons is oil prices are down. I think this is a good time to get the war settled. Thank you.
Just one more question.
Thank you for that question.
For those of us that live here in the district, you said when you came in you were going to make Washington, D.C. great again.
Right.
One of the issues we've got right now is we understand there might be an imminent deal between the owner of the Washington football team, whatever you want to call them now, Commanders, and locally in getting the Redskins back to D.C. and RFK Stadium. That's on federal property.
Right.
Are you going to be involved in that negotiation?
Yep.
And would one of the stipulations be they change their name back to the Redskins?
Oh, I say, well, that's a little bit, nobody's asked for that one.
God, I love how fucking stupid Americans are. You better change it back to Redskins right now. It's like global economy is on fire. Cost of living out of control. Will you change the Commanders back to Redskins now, sir?
You know, quarterback. I love the quarterback.
Even
like
Trump was like, no one has ever asked me that question. As in Trump land, that means, wow, what a dumb question.
His quarterback's mother is incredible. I like that team. They're called the Chiefs. And frankly, I see nothing wrong with it. They call them the Warriors, and not that team, but a lot of other teams. And all of these Indian surnames and different names. And I'm saying that I think that's a positive thing. And when you go back to Indians, they poll this. They don't know why these names are being taken off. They're trying to, I think it's degrading to the Indian population, and it's a great population. And they like when they're, you know, called by various names. Now, Washington,
I don't think
perhaps,
American natives like being called Redskins, dude.
Tell you that
okay, wait,
no.
no.
Love
like,
that name, and they love that team, and I think it's
the naming convention for like Indian versus Native American. Yeah, in like Native Americans themselves, so most of them don't have a problem with the Indian naming convention. They call themselves that as well. It's a issue of debate, is an issue of controversy. But nah, the name Redskin, I'm pretty sure, is not in the same category. I wouldn't even place the calling Native Americans Indian is on the same in the same wavelength as like Latinx. There's a lot more discourse, I think, than how silly it was to just say Latinx in general. But definitely dumb to say Redskins, they love it.
Sir, thank you, sir. Elon Musk said he'll be stepping back from his work with Doge a little bit and only be dedicating maybe a day or two a week to it. How
after?
Well, first of all, I can't speak more highly about any individual. He's an incredible guy. He's a brilliant guy. He's a wonderful person. I've seen him with his family. I've seen him with a lot of his children. He's got a lot of children. He treats them good. He loves his children. But he's a brilliant guy. And he was a tremendous help, both in the campaign and in what he's done with Doge. And, you know, we're talking about almost $200 billion and rising fast, because many of the things that we were looking at are now being found out to be fact. It's terrible. I mean, the fraud, the waste, the abuse, everything that's happened is just terrible. So I also know that he was treated very unfairly by I guess you'd call it the public, by some of the public, not by all of it. I say he makes an incredible car, everything he does is good. But they took it out on Tesla. And I just thought it was so unfair because he's trying to help the country. But he has helped the country. I also want him to make sure that
it's so unfair that people just don't want to buy Elon Musk cars anymore. It's fucked up.
He loves the country. He didn't need to do this. He did it. And I told him, I said, you know, whenever you're ready, I'd like to keep him for a long time, but whenever you're ready, he's an exceptional guy. When you see those rockets go up and come back and land in the same gantry, nobody else can do that but this man. So he's just an incredible person, and he's a friend of mine, and he's a nice person, too. He's a very nice person. He really helped the country, saved us a lot of money. And I heard him say that he'll start easing, he was always at this time going to ease out. And when he goes back to Tesla, that'll be taken care of. It's artificial. These were sick people that thought they were doing something. He's a great patriot, and it shouldn't be the way, that should never have happened to him. And I will tell you right now, he makes a great product. He makes a great product. It's a great car. It's great everything. Starlink is great. What he does is good. He's doing medical things that are amazing. And we have to, at some point, let him go and do that. And we expect him to be doing it about this time. But I'll talk to Elon about it. Thank you for the question.
So, Mr. President, a second question. Canada has an election coming up. Do you have a prediction for that, and what do you think the results
With respect to Canada?
With the negotiations?
Oh, I don't want to predict other nations' elections. It's tough enough doing this one. Look, I love the Canadian people. I
He
like
took
Canada,
the Canadian Conservative Party.
It's costing us $200 billion a year to support Canada. $200 billion. And I say, why are we doing that? You know what? We can make our own cars. We have more energy than they do. We have more energy than anybody in the world. We don't need their lumber, obviously. We have more lumber. We have a lot of lumber. We have a lot of everything that they sell us. But in particular cars, they took a large percentage of the car making, and I want to bring it back to this country. I really don't want cars from Canada. So when I put tariffs on Canada, they're paying 25%, but that could go up in terms of cars. When we put tariffs on, all we're doing is we're saying we don't want your cars in all due respect. We want really to make our own cars, which is what we're doing in record numbers now. You know, we're going to be at record levels in a very near future because of all the plants, the car plants that are being built. And I'd rather see them made in Michigan and made in South Carolina and made in different states, Tennessee. We have a lot of great car-making states, and we have some that aren't car-making yet, but they will soon be car-making states. And that's what I want to see for our country. At the same time, I want to help Canada. I have spoken to the current Prime Minister. He was very, very nice, I will say. Very nice. We had a couple of very nice conversations, very good. But I don't think it's appropriate for me to get involved in their election.
He's saying that because he knows he's unpopular in Canada.
Recognizing Russia's sovereignty over Crimea?
Well, everything is good. Look, I just want to see the war end. I don't care. If they're both happy, they both sign an agreement. I have no favorites. I don't want to have any favorites. I want to have a deal done. I want to save the lives. Now, with that being said, we're spending hundreds of billions of dollars through Biden.
I have no
Biden
favorites.
should have never let that war happen. We're spending hundreds of billions, maybe $350 billion we've given to Ukraine. And we could use that money right here So I'd like to see that. But most importantly right now is when I see the pictures, the satellite pictures of the battlefield, if I can stop that because of an ability I have to do things, I want to see if I can do that.
Mr. President, on tariffs, you just mentioned that.
That's what he means. He's like, why are we giving it to Ukraine? Israel is right there waiting for the money.
We want to make our own cars, and we're now equipped to do that. They took a lot of our car business. Mexico, too, took a lot of our car business. We want to make the cars here. I'm running this country. I'm not running Canada. And that's why I asked Trudeau, who I call Governor Trudeau affectionately, but I asked him, why are we spending $200 billion to support Canada, to subsidize Canada? And he was unable to answer the question. I mean, why are we doing that? And I have to be honest, as a state, it works great. As a nation, considering the fact that most of the nation, 95% of Canada, what they do is they buy from us. And they sell to us. They sell to us. If we didn't buy their oil, and we don't need their oil. We have more oil than anyone, but we don't need their oil. We don't need their lumber. We don't need their cars. We don't need anything. So I said, why are we doing this? Why are we spending $200 billion? It doesn't make sense. If we needed something, that would be a different subject. So I'm working well with Canada. We're doing very well. We're working on a deal. We'll see what happens. But again, why, representing this country, why are we spending $200 billion to support and subsidize another country? Because if they didn't have us, and if we didn't spend that money, as Trudeau told me, they would cease to exist. He said that to me. They would cease to exist, which is true, certainly as a country.
On tourism, there's been a steep drop-off in international travel to the United States. It was down 12% last month, down even more from Western Europe. Why do you think that there are fewer people suddenly who want to travel to the United States?
Well, there could be a little, there's a little nationalism there, I guess, perhaps. It's not a big deal, but, with the dollar being where it is, because, China would always fight for having a low dollar. Japan would always fight for having a low dollar, meaning a low yen, or in the case of China, the yuan. They'd always want to have, I'd speak to President Xi a lot. I'd say it's unfair that your yuan is so low. I'd call up a great man, Prime Minister Abe, great man, Shinzo, who was unfortunately assassinated. And I used to tell you, he was a good friend of mine, I used to say, Shinzo, you can't let your yen go down. It makes it very hard for us to sell tractors. It makes it very hard to us to get tourism. And our dollar is a little bit on the low side. And that means that a lot of tourism is going to come in. But I could see a little bit of nationalism at work. And I could see it likewise with us, not wanting to go to certain countries. But that will work out very easily.
Do you think some people are scared to come here because they hear the stories of tourists who are detained for a few days or even a week or two?
No, we treat our tourists great. We're the tourism capital of the world. There's no place like this.
30% drop off, big dog. That's precisely the reason.
But I doubt it. I actually doubt it. Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh, he doubts it. Okay. I guess that's that then.
Yeah.
And
every day.
Every day. And then secondly, would you support a millionaire tax?
I think it would be very disruptive because a lot of the millionaires would leave the country. In the old days, they left states. They go from one state to the other. Now with transportation so quick and so easy, they leave countries. You'll lose a lot of money if you do that. And other countries that have done it have lost a lot of people. They lose their wealthy people. That would be bad because the wealthy people pay the tax. Okay?
So how did the talks today go in London? Do you think that the asks from Ukraine and
I think they went well. I mean, we got to get two people.
Okay.
Two strong people.
By that logic, we need to make it zero.
And as soon as they
I guess we need to lower the taxes for the millionaires, right? Otherwise, they'll leave, right?
A monster trade deal with India, like biggest one ever. Can you share with us what some of the framework of that might be?
You said England.
India.
India?
India.
They're not very complicated, these deals. It's about the tariffs. India charges almost more than any other country in the world And believe it or not, we do very little business with India, other than the fact that I like the Prime Minister very much. He's a friend of mine. He was here 2 weeks ago, as you know. And we stood right outside, did a news conference. Unfortunately, the grass was very wet. It was very hard for people to stand on the grass. They got their shoes all ruined. But other than that, it was a very good news conference. And he's a great guy. But we do very little business. You know why? Because their tariffs are so high. They have among the highest tariffs, higher than China. They have among the highest tariffs in the world. And I understand they're going to reduce those tariffs, but it's really sort of their problem, not ours. We do very, very little purchasing in India because and selling. We do very little selling. I mean, Harley Davidson, I said, how are you doing in India? This is 6 years ago. They came to lunch as a great American company. They make the motorcycles. And I said, how are you doing in India, as an example? Well, we don't do any business there. Why? Because the tariffs are too high. I said, that's interesting. Well, what are you going to do? He said, well, we're going to build a plant in India. And that's what they did. I don't want that to happen. They were forced to build a plant. Well, essentially what we're doing is the same thing. Remember, there's no tariff when they build their plant here. And everybody wants to build because they don't want to. And the higher the tariffs go, the more likely it is they come in and build a plant. You know, I mean, if it's 25%, that's fine. If it's 50%, you'll get more plants. 75, you get more.
Would it actually be a problem if all the rich 1% left the country? Would they even actually do that? No. Capital flight is a fucking myth. Secondly, there are punishments that they can. You are the government. You can just say, okay, you take your taxes away. If you hide your asses from the federal government, we'll punish you. We won't let your companies enter the American market. Ironically enough, if Donald Trump actually wanted to solve this problem, he wouldn't make China his enemy with his tariffs regime. He would make the capital owners his enemy. This is the major distinction. Donald Trump does not want to tackle the actual issue. He actually wants to accelerate the problem. He wants to make the problem worse. Wealth inequality is the problem here. The idea that a guy can just nuke the fucking entirety of global trade, but simply cannot demand that wealthy people pay more in fucking taxes is so stupid. Oh, it ended. Tim Pool and his fellow host actually thinks the Suez Canal is in Israel, and that is the main reason for the U.S. support in Israel, and why it's a good argument to keep supporting it. The Suez Canal is in Egypt, which has had a pro-U.S. puppet regime for decades. And the only times it has been closed, including right now, as one of the hosts points out, is exactly because of U.S. support for Israel.
I have not heard a good argument as to why Americans should be using their weapons development, tax dollars, whatever you want to call it, for Israel's.
Tim Pool, Mr. Israel's biggest dick rider, went from getting paid by Russia to, I assume, maybe potentially paid by Israel. How'd this happen? Hamas is the enemy of America. Palestinians are the enemy of the world. Ukraine is the enemy. Palestinians are the enemy.
Unless like America's worried that if we don't sell it to them, then Russia will.
I think that's our bulwark against the Suez, holding the Suez. And if Israel wasn't there, we'd have no.
But all the ships literally right now.
That's actually a really great.
Yeah, but all the ships right now are going around the Suez Canal anyways
because of the Houthis.
Yeah, because of the Houthis. So they can do it. It's inconvenient,
but this explains a lot actually. So Trump wants to control the Northwest Passage with Greenland. He just struck a deal on Panama, and this is why he's pro-Israel. They want all of the trade canals to control global trade.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah. I would say that's the best reason I've heard.
And that's why we have our fingers away from our homeland so that we're not letting anyone near us. So we have this area protected, essentially. If we just let it go and Israel were to fall, and then the Suez is shut down and controlled by
China,
potentially Chinese, Russian, Iranian coalition or whatever.
Yeah.
That might not. I don't know.
But again, you just have to go around. You just have to go around Africa.
It's not easy to do.
But it's that.
They're right. What is Squirrel's problem with this explanation? Are we pretending that Israel's not directly adjacent to the Suez? They're not saying it's in Israel. Yeah, I was about to say, as much as I want to dunk on Tim Pool, ironically enough, I don't even think that they're implying that the Suez Canal is a part of Israel. I think they're saying that America's interest in defending Israel partially is because of this, and it's true. It is literally true. They do want to maintain control over the region. Part of that is also protecting trade that goes to the Red Sea. the Suez Canal. And although Egypt is a vassal state, it is still ultimately unreliable in comparison to Israel, because even though Egypt is a vassal state, let's say they fucking lose Sisi somehow. There's like a popular revolt or something. And then the entirety of the control of that route is in the hands of the Muslim Brotherhood. All of a sudden, that's a major issue for America. Israel has to be there to deal with that issue. God forbid the Egyptian population rise up and do democracy or something. America would need Israel to step in to stop the democracy. That's not true. Haas is a minute beauty. What do you mean? You think Egypt, that gets more financial assistance than the state of Israel, is not there specifically to serve the interests of empire? What I'm describing is not theory. It has already happened. When the Muslim Brotherhood was in power, they had very good relations with the U.S. and Israel. So what happened? What happened to the Muslim Brotherhood? What happened to the Muslim Brotherhood? Why are they no longer in power? Why are you saying was in power? Oh, they got cooed. Okay. I wonder why. Yeah, Jordan also, you're talking about this as Jordan literally banned the Muslim Brotherhood under U.S. pressure yesterday. Egyptian here and 100% agree with you, Hassan. They don't want any type of democracy in my country. The Muslim Brotherhood was a threat, even if they were aligned with the United States and Israel, in order to, which I would call that into question anyway. In order to maintain power, they have to play ball with the regional actors. But even then, that's a significant threat, because it is an unsustainable position for the United States of America, because they could just turn around and say, you know what Israel's doing is fucking crazy. We're gonna put an end to it. Ultimately, what Egypt can never have is a full-blown democratic process, because the Egyptian population's attitude towards Israel and towards the United States of America is very different than whoever comes to power and their attitude and what they want to do in terms of business as usual.
What they're doing right now
because of the Houthis.
Because of the Houthis,
So
like
Trump
they
bombs the Houthis.
Yeah,
like, give us back our canal.
But he's bombing, even with bombing the Houthis, like they're still going. Like I saw a graph or whatever image
best
today, and they all are currently just going around.
We got to go to chats over here, but Cam Higby was on the show the other day, and he's very pro-Israel. He says he's a raging Zionist, and he was arguing that we should fund Israel's military because they test our weapons or whatever. And I'm like, that's not a good argument, dude. We can test our weapons, and he's like, yeah, but they're not battle tested. And I'm like, okay, I just don't see that as a good argument.
Yeah, that's not a good argument.
The Suez Canal is interesting because losing control of that cedes control to the BRICS nations, and that's going to create a multipolar world.
It's just a big game of risk.
God, yeah, Trump's not going to back down from this, and I think that's exactly why Trump is pro-Israel.
The argument that you presented and then the article that you linked literally shows the opposite of what you're saying. Haas is a man of beauty. The article that you're showing unironically points that America started reconsidering its security cooperation. Before the coup, Obama administration requested $1.3 billion in military aid, which Congress will debate after the summer recess, saying that the White House put all military aid to Egypt currently in the pipeline under review soon after the overthrow of President Mohamed Morsi. So they actually they maintained it, but they initially wanted to stop it at that point. During 2013 Israel attack on Gaza, Egypt sent its prime minister to Gaza while bombs were dropping to stop the attack. The reason why America has these security partnerships with these countries, with these regional powers, okay, is because the reason why they give them money and military equipment is so that they can successfully squash any sort of violent rebellion, any sort of popular resistance. That's a part of it. And people that want to maintain their power, people that want to continue controlling these countries, will gladly take the security assistance, will gladly take those weapons, and will turn those weapons on their own people. Okay? Chuck Dice, thank you for the 25 gifted subs. We're going to move back to the Ukraine war. I don't know where the Adam clip is, chat. Shut the fuck up. Ukraine war, details emerge on reported U.S. peace proposal. Let's take a look.
I'm not sure the Europeans and many other states in the world will go along with that because there's a very big principle involved. but it would mean that the Ukrainians would have to accept that they have permanently lost Crimea. The Russians would have to withdraw a little bit from a couple of areas around the Dnieper River. The Dnieper River is critical to Ukraine. You've only got to look at where it flows from north to south to understand that. And the Russians would have to withdraw under these proposals a little bit from the river, where they were driven out from Kherson across the river. They'd have to withdraw a bit further away from the river in a couple of places in order to give the Ukrainians complete access to the river, which of course is very important to their economic well-being, getting out to the western part of the Black Sea. And then there's the question of the Zaporizhia nuclear power plant, very important. The Russians have taken a lot of the Zaporizhia area and they occupy the power plant. But they don't occupy the city of Zaporizhia, a very important industrial city, 750,000 people before the war, and that's really important. Whatever happens to the Zaporizhia plant, the Russians can't continue to control it in any stable ceasefire. So one proposal is that the Americans might control it. We'll see where that goes. So that's an idea of the territorial basis of these proposals, but along with that also goes the idea that Ukraine will give up forever the idea of joining NATO, and that, again, is something that is plausible but won't be easy to accept. And what isn't clear is whether there is a willingness for other states to be involved in a peace support or a peace enforcement mission. What's being briefed out is that the Americans are interested in having the Europeans involved in some way, along with non-European or non-NATO states, to look after the whole of this 1,000-kilometre boundary between the Russians, where the Russians are fighting and where the Ukrainians are fighting, a 1,000-kilometre long front line. That's a pretty big peace line to police. Somebody might have to police it. And the Russians have said that they won't accept any NATO troops anywhere in Ukrainian territory, but of course Ukraine will remain a sovereign state, so they can have whoever they want to invite in if they're prepared to come. Lots still to discuss. The fact is that this is an outline of a peace plan which is being pushed very hard by the United States. We assume by the 30th of this month, which is 100 days since Donald Trump took office, and he has a very big stake in showing that he's brought some sort of ceasefire to Ukraine in the first 100 days. But most ceasefire plans take a lot longer than this to negotiate, and I think we're a long, long way yet from a plan that looks genuinely plausible.
There's the art of the deal. Then there's the bloody detail of a drone strike. A bus transporting workers in the central Ukrainian city of Marhanets was hit last night. 9 people were killed, part of a wave of attacks. One of Donald Trump's self-described big, beautiful deals, ending the war in Ukraine in 24 hours. And as the world approaches 2,400 hours of Trump Mark II, here was the scene in Kharkiv last night.
Miles?
J.D. Vance, on a trip to India, was talking up a US proposal involving freezing the front lines and a land swap, but also more than just a hint of looming exasperation.
We've issued a very explicit proposal to both the Russians and the Ukrainians, and it's time for them to either say yes or for the United States to walk away from this process.
The Financial Times, another.
Art of the deal all around, by the way. Art of the deal with China, demanding that China call Trump immediately and say, I'm so sorry for participating in the global economy schemes that you have designed, where we became a manufacturing hub for the entire planet. And you, in exchange for that, gave the dollar tremendous purchasing power. We're so sorry for succeeding. Okay. The art of the deal here is fucking constantly yelling at Zelensky, being like, Zel Disney, he's got no cards. Trump says we are very close to a deal on Ukraine, but blames Zelensky for holding it up by refusing to acknowledge Russia's annexation of Crimea. He appears to suggest Crimea is a part of whatever deal U.S. may have made. U.S. may have already agreed with Russia. I don't understand. If the annexed territories are going to be recognized, why the fuck wouldn't he recognize Crimea? You know what I mean? Ukraine is absolutely getting fucked here. Wow, Russia gets a bunch of land and they're going to alienate themselves from the West because they will have a chip on their shoulder over NATO. What a nightmare. Oh, the 4 oblasts are not being recognized. Okay. But it's still going to be in Russia's hands, no? Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is boasting on the front page of the Wall Street Journal that Ukraine will not legally recognize the occupation of Crimea. There is nothing to talk about here. This statement is very harmful to peace negotiations with Russia, in that Crimea was lost years ago under the auspices of President Barack Hussein Obama and is not even a point of discussion. Nobody is asking Disney to recognize Crimea as Russian territory, but if he wants Crimea, why didn't they fight for it 11 years ago when it was handed over to Russia without a shot being fired? The area also houses, for many years before the Obama handover, major Russian submarine bases. He's not wrong. No, that's not. This part is not entirely incorrect. Anyway, yes, Sevastopol is a Russian Russian Navy base in Crimea before Russia's annexation of Crimea. So, you know, he's just being a dickhead. Anyway, Zelensky makes it so difficult. It's inflammatory statements like Zelensky's that makes it so difficult. How do you not see you come across like a pussy, by the way, when you do this? When you're like, oh, we're about to do a deal. We're about to do a deal, which gives Russia everything, okay, and Ukraine nothing. And Zelensky is the one fucking up the deal. Dude, Zelensky is your guy. Like Zelensky, whether you want to recognize it or not, Zelensky is your side. Like he is your proxy in this conversation. You can't just keep throwing your proxy under the bus. I think it's really fucked up. I think it's incredibly fucked up that Trump, in an effort to like nip this shit in the bud, is obviously going to sell a bunch of Ukrainian assets over here to Russia and say, all right, it's Russia. What are you going to do about it? Okay. You know, they won, you lost, we lost, bye-bye, right? But also simultaneously shitting on Zelensky in the process and like taking away whatever remaining political power he has in the country and like chipping away. I guess, or maybe he's doing the same thing that he did with like Carney or whatever, or Poilievre, where he just keeps shitting on Zelensky and then maybe his approval rating goes up in Ukraine. I don't know. Maybe it's a art of the deal 5D chess move. He just recognizes how unfavorable he is, so he's shitting on Zelensky to make Zelensky look stronger in Ukraine. Except it's such a stupid move because, ironically enough, it will inevitably show the rest of the world that America is untrustworthy in broad daylight, in fucking 4K. They're treating Ukraine like they do Kurdish militia forces in the Middle East. Like identically, which is something I said in the beginning of Russia's invasion, and everyone fucking yelled at me. Anyway, I have nothing to do with Russia. Wait, what is this? Zelensky makes this difficult. He has nothing to boast about. The situation for Ukraine is dire. He can have peace, or he can fight another 3 years before losing the whole country. I have nothing to do with Russia, but have much to do with wanting to save, on average, 5,000 Russian and Ukrainian soldiers a week who are dying for no reason whatsoever. The statement made by Zelensky today will do nothing but prolong the killing field, and nobody wants that. We are very close to a deal, but the man with no cards to play should now finally get it done. I look forward to being able to help Ukraine and Russia get out of this complete and total mess that would have never have started if I were president. Yeah, the final offer for peace requires Ukraine to accept Russian occupation. De jure U.S. recognition and Russian control of Crimea, de facto recognition of Russia's occupation of nearly all of Luhansk Oblast and the occupied portions of Donetsk, Kherson, and Zaporizhia. A promise that Ukraine will not become a member of NATO. The text notes that Ukraine could become a part of the European Union. The lifting of sanctions imposed since 2014, enhanced economic cooperation with the U.S., particularly in energy and industrial sectors. Okay, I misunderstood from the British man. I thought the British man said de jure U.S. recognition of all Russian-controlled territories. In the previous video, I guess that is wrong. He's saying de facto control over the rest of the territory, which is, it means like it's assumed that Russia controls those territories. It's just not in the writing that the annexation is officially recognized. It's de jure, not de jure, French and all that. Okay, stop.
Others are reporting that Putin's offer to Trump includes redrawing the Ukrainian map along current front lines and giving up territorial claims on land not already captured. a pitch aimed at securing US recognition of Russia's annexation of Crimea. Ukrainian Deputy Prime Minister tweeted this today.
Ukraine is ready to negotiate, but not to surrender. Our people will not accept a frozen conflict disguised as peace. We will never recognize the occupation of Crimea.
It all comes as Trump...
Bro, I'm not gonna lie, it's more than I thought. It's more. Trump is giving Russia even more than I thought they would. Like, I thought there would be some concessions to give like at least some semblance of a W to Ukraine to make it seem like all of this death and destruction was worth it. It's literally, it's nothing. Like, the only way, there's two ways that this deal could have gone worse for Ukraine. And obviously the absolute worst would have been Ukraine has to give complete control to Russia. It's now Russian territory and we're officially recognizing it. And I guess the second worst version would be if he said, oh, we're formally recognizing all annexed territory as Russian, as a part of the Russian Federation. Like, this is the third worst scenario. De facto recognition of all annexed territory for Russian, under Russian control, and legal recognition of Russian occupied Crimea as a part of Russian territory. Yeah, it's like a Belarusification of Ukraine. It's insane. He's literally giving them everything and like $500 billion of mineral resources to the U.S. as well. Like, what does Ukraine have left? Yeah, it is crazy. They're going to poison Zelensky if he goes and signs this. I'm not going to lie to you, chatter. I think Zelensky is done, whether he signs this or not. Like, he's done no matter what. He's fucking cooked.
Trump's top team of diplomats were a no-show at talks aimed at securing a...
He's also extra cooked because it's not like he can do the thing that like other governments or fascist leadership in the past, not saying Zelensky is, but fascist leaderships in the past, after being overthrown by popular revolution, will fly to Miami and live there, right? He can't even do that. He can't even escape to America. At most, he can escape maybe to like, he could maybe escape to the UK, but it's not like fucking Russia hasn't assassinated political dissidents in the heart of Europe before, you know? He'll go to Poland? Okay, that's crazy. He can go to Moscow like Assad. I'm going to say this once again, as I've said before. Zelensky should literally ring up China. He should ring up China and just be like, dude, please help us. Look, I know we have been a proxy for America by your estimations, but honestly, it's time, big dog. It's time. I don't understand why will he be assassinated? Because it's a fucking... Dude, imagine you're not half, but like 25% of your country has been taken over by a nation state that your entire national project revolves around not being a part of. And in the process, you are forced to concede to these demands by the United States of America. Nobody is happy. The nationalists are unhappy because they've lost territory to Russia. The rest of the Ukrainians are unhappy also because they lost territory to Russia. From what I understand, though, even the more nationalist elements are not oblivious to what's going on, especially because a lot of the nationalist elements are the ones who are directly at the heart of the conflict. So they are familiar with the situation on the battleground. So I don't even know what kind of alternative they have in mind as far as like how to fight back against Russia.
Damn, this guy's good.